Hill Heating and Cooling, and by Focus. So you see I got my Focus right here, PHOCUS. DrinkFocus.com, sparkling water with a spark. We are live at Bridgestone Arena, Preds tonight against the Anaheim Ducks. But first we got to start on this, and I think it's pretty important. Caroline Fenton gets an F today. And not an F for her last name being Fenton, but an F because she drove to the wrong studio. And I'm sitting here thinking like, I thought about it this morning. I thought, do I need to text Caroline and tell her we're at the arena? I'm like, nope. They sent out emails telling us where we were going to be. They sent out emails telling us what we were going to do. And so I figured that it was time to see if Caroline could sink or swim. And Ian, unfortunately, she sunk today.
That is a little disappointing.
It is disappointing. And so, when she called me and she definitely was in a panic, and she definitely should have been in a panic, I'm not mad, not angry, not whatever. I wondered if I should have pulled the Bill Belichick. Because you know the Bill, right, Ian?
Oh, yeah.
I wondered if I should have pulled the Bill and just said, just go home. Just the way that Bill used to do it, or at least the way Floyd said Bill used to do it, and just say, no, late for team meeting. Oh, but it was a blizzard, and I left my house 4 hours before team meeting at 6 a.m. Didn't make it to team meeting, I'm sorry. But I'm just kidding. But Caroline will be joining us shortly. But I don't need Caroline for this first segment because we got to talk about the Titans game. So here's the good. And I'm going to get this out of the way early, though I'm sure we will talk about it and circle back at some point today. The good. Congratulations to Floyd and Jeff Fisher. And I want to thank Amy Adams Strunk. And I want to thank Burke Nihol, the team president. And I want to thank everybody that was involved. Tina Tuggle, who was Floyd's assistant for so long, now vice president, community affairs. I want to thank the Titans because yesterday was truly an honor, and for somebody who was a fan for so long, I think it kind of put a great cap on the golden era of Tennessee Titan football yesterday. Jeff Fisher up there, the Reese family up there, and that was great. The bad, the way they played yesterday. So I think if you're expecting your typical Jared Stillman meltdown rant, you're probably not going to get it today. And I think some of that is because part of me is like in a good mood. Because yesterday it was so great to honor Floyd and to be with his family and everything that we did and everything the Titans did for them. You can't, even a terrible performance against the worst team in the NFL, which is what that was, even that can't completely damper it. But I will say this. When it comes to the Titans, I think we got a nice reality check as to what they are, which is a reality check that I feel like most of the NFL has been getting for the last month. The Titans are not the only team in the NFL to go out there and play an absolutely craptastic fashion against a horrific team. Buffalo did it to Jacksonville. Dallas did it to Denver. Some people will argue the Rams did it to you. Green Bay did it to Minnesota yesterday. You are not the first team in the history of the NFL that has had that happen. You are not the first team in the last week that has had that happen. So to sit there and say like, oh, God, the Titans are terrible. This is what. No. We're not doing that. We're not doing that today. But I do think reality is setting in. First and foremost, how important is Derrick Henry? I'd say Derrick Henry's pretty important. Yeah, I know you beat the Rams without Derrick Henry. I think you win yesterday if you've got Derrick Henry. How important are all those pass rushers on defense? I think they're pretty important. Bud Dupree's not out there. Defense doesn't look the same. But the reality check is what I think the fans need to have, which I think the team is now starting to get. And that is that Ryan Tannehill is not playing good enough. He's not. And you'd be shocked to know that this show has said for 2 months now that Ryan Tannehill was not getting the job done. And we were scared to death about a situation where the game would be put onto Ryan Tannehill and you would say, Ryan, you cannot make a crucial mistake that hurts this football team. And guess what Ryan Tannehill went out and did yesterday? In a game that honestly, like you lose to the Texans, it's bad, I don't like it, but you can get over it. But Ryan Tannehill wasn't very good. And so here you are. And you wonder to yourself, okay, a bad day from Tannehill, a bad day from Mike Vrabel. What are they trying to do with 9 seconds before the end of the half? And Tannehill should never take an intentional grounding. I mean, in all seriousness, that was one of the dumber plays that he made yesterday, and that's saying something. But he should never take an intentional grounding. But what did you think was going to happen with 9 seconds left in the half? You got no receivers. You gonna throw a jump ball in the end zone? Kick the field goal, please. Thank you. Vrabel doesn't go for 2. Vrabel, anywho. So there's that. So I didn't think it was a good day from Tannehill, and I didn't think it was a good day from Vrabel. And I'm going to say it like this, and this is what I know I'm going to get, and I can already see the phones lighting up. I know we're going to get a lot of people that are saying, you can't blame Tannehill because they were so injured. You can't blame Vrabel because they were so injured. You can't blame. Why can I not blame them because people are injured? Anybody else on the football team make $32 million? Anybody else on the football team? Serious question. Anybody else on the football team make that kind of money? Anybody else on the football team, the head coach? Anybody else get all the perks of being head coach? Get the salary of being head coach? Get the benefits of being head coach? Get the pension of being head coach? No. This is the NFL, people. And it's not like you're playing a good team. You were playing the Texans. So I'm just going to keep it real with you right now. I've said it for months. Even when you won, the quarterback wasn't giving you enough. Yesterday, he was downright awful. And he admitted it after the game, taking blame for the loss. And yes, they are injured. They are injured beyond repair. That if they were to go into the playoffs with this roster the way it is, they'd lose. They would not win the Super Bowl. I have said that since Derrick Henry got hurt, that if you tell me Derrick is out for the year, then the season is over. And if you tell me that Derrick is coming back, I think they've got a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Because I think Derrick matters that much. Julio Jones is out. A.J. Brown got hurt. I get it. You're not going to win a lot of games that way. But this is the Texans. And not only that, we said on Friday, how many turnovers would it take for the Titans to lose this game? And we said 2 plus a third play that is like a turnover that isn't a turnover. They had 5. They had 5 yesterday, and Tannehill had 4. And so I get it. I understand that I am in for 4 hours of people making excuses for Tannehill, 4 hours of people making excuses for Vrabel. You know, why he didn't go for 2, I mean, for a guy that loves to go for it, I was a little surprised by that. Why they didn't kick the field goal at the end of the first half, whatever. Why Tannehill takes an intentional grounding. Why Tannehill threw 4 interceptions. I mean, I get it. I'm in for 4 hours of phone calls that are going to tell me it was Des Fitzpatrick didn't run the right route, as if Des Fitzpatrick, that's who we're, okay, let's blame Des Fitzpatrick. Guys, I'm going to tell you something. In 2000, yesterday was the second time in my life that I have teared at Nissan Stadium, and I thought about this as I was walking into the stadium, and I started to break down a little bit, thinking about Floyd going into the Ring of Honor and all the emotions that I had with that, with such a great person being honored on such a great day. And I said to myself, this is the second time in my life that I have cried inside the stadium. The first time I was 11 years old, the Titans lost to the Baltimore Ravens in January of 2001. They were the best team in the NFL. They outgained the Ravens like 430 to like 87. The Titans blocked 2 punts and lost that game. You know why the Titans blocked 2 punts and lost that game? Because they threw an interception, they missed 3 field goals, and they missed a 4th one that got taken away by a penalty. That's why they lost. They had a bad day. And that team that would have spanked Oakland and would have spanked the New York Giants in the Super Bowl, whom they had already spanked earlier that season, that team has nothing to show for it. There is not a banner in that building that represents that team, which was the best team that they had. And they had a bad day. Steve McNair had a bad throw behind Eddie George. Eddie George didn't catch it. Ray Lewis picked it up and ran into the end zone. These things matter. And we have been seeing this out of the Titans in some of their wins. Not all of them. The Rams game, for the most part, was very clean. The Chiefs game, for the most part, was very clean. But we've been seeing this out of the Titans, especially Tannehill. We have been seeing this. And I'm just telling you that if they don't get it worked out and they have a bad day, they're going home. If they don't get Derrick Henry back, they're going home. If they don't figure out what is wrong with the health of this football club, and I get it, injuries are a part of the game. I understand it. But when everybody is hurt, If they don't get that figured out, maybe they're practicing too hard. Maybe they're not practicing enough. Maybe their training staff isn't doing enough treatment. Maybe their training staff is doing too much treatment. I have no freaking clue. But whatever is going on over there, maybe John Robinson's investment in injured players is really starting to bite him in the butt. I don't know. But whatever it is over there, they got to get it figured out. Again, I'm not crying in my beer because they lost this game. I don't think the number 1 seed's gone. I don't think the potential to still have a great season is gone. I don't think the way that they played against Kansas City is gone. I don't think all the good things that you all have felt for the last 6 weeks about the Titans, I don't think that's gone. I think the season is still very much in play. But I think now we can all, I hope, address the real issues with this team. And while, again, I'm not saying that these were ideal conditions to throw the football. I'm not saying that they were ideal conditions to put your quarterback in with no wide receivers. I don't think it's fair to say that everybody on the team, that the running game or the offensive line is doing their parts. But none of those people make $30 million. One guy makes $30 million, and he absolutely, positively let you down yesterday. And the truth is, you have to decide for yourself. And you can do this whichever way you'd like, because it's your team. It's not my team. But you're going to have to decide for yourself. Can you believe in Ryan Tannehill? Taylor Lewan after the game, we believe in Tannehill 100%. Taylor, first off, nobody cares. Nobody cares what you think. Like, get to left tackle. But more importantly, I do wonder if this is going to start to seep into the team. Because I think even the most ardent Tannehill defenders, and we will have a lot of Tannehill talk today. And I don't want people to misconstrue how hard I've been on Tannehill as I don't like Tannehill, or I think Tannehill's a bad guy, or I don't have any of those kind of feelings. I think Tannehill's a great guy. I think Tannehill's a good leader. I mean, I push for him over Tom Brady, and you all know how much I love Tom Brady. But at the end of the day, there are standards that we've got to hold this team to if we have goals for them to go win the Super Bowl. And one of them, call me crazy, one of them is to not throw 4 interceptions against the Texans. Is that too much to ask for? So you guys, there's a big question that's surrounding Tannehill. And yesterday did him no favors. Did him no favors with the reality of the situation the team is in. Did him no favors with the fact that I see the fan base right now. I can tell you how I feel about the fan base with Tannehill. I think you guys are mad at me. You guys are looking at me thinking that I want to do 4 hours of I told you so talk. And I don't. I do not want 4 hours of I told you so talk with Tannehill. I want Tannehill to get it figured out. I want Tannehill to go out there and lead the team to beat teams that they should beat, that they're way better than, because he's a good enough quarterback to do that. But I got concerns now. If we want to talk Super Bowl, which is what we talk about, what we've been talking about for 6 weeks, if we want to talk Super Bowl, 4 interceptions are not acceptable. Not acceptable. Jim Mora Sr., we all know the epic playoffs rant, right? Everybody knows the playoffs rant. Do you know why Jim Mora went off on that? Because Peyton Manning threw 3 interceptions that day. 1 was returned for a touchdown. That's what led to his playoffs rant. And I'm not going to do it for you here. But the reality is Tannehill's got to play better, folks. Tannehill said it yesterday that he's got to play better. Tannehill knows he's got to play better. Taylor Lewan's coming out and saying we believe in him 100% because he knows Tannehill's got to play better. It is time to smell the coffee, folks. You want to win the Super Bowl? You want to make the playoffs. If that's your expectation, hey, I want to make the playoffs and have a nice season. If you want to do that, you're in good shape right now. You want to win the Super Bowl right now? That performance, unacceptable. And it's not like those mistakes that were made yesterday, like the first one where he just looked right at the linebacker as he's staring down A.J. Brown, and the linebacker is just standing there. And he just throws it right into the hands of the linebacker. It's not as if he hasn't been doing that. That's what's gotten a lot of you all mad at me to begin with, is that I've been looking at those in games they've won. I'm like, what is he doing? And so, I mean, look, the Titan defense is injured. I thought the Titan defense played okay yesterday. I know that the Texans had like 100 yards of total offense. I get it. But the Texan offense sucks. So I thought they were okay yesterday. I thought the Titans offense yesterday was terrible. I thought it was terrible all around. And yeah, I know. What can you really expect out of Chester Rogers, Nick Westbrook-Akina, and Des Fitzpatrick? Guess what? You got a guy making $30 million playing quarterback. You got a guy that we sat here and we said all summer, it's a disgrace that they don't have him ranked as a top 10 quarterback. How dare they have Kyler Murray ahead of him? How dare they? No, they were right. We were wrong. And everything about Tannehill in Miami. And look, I didn't cover the Dolphins then. I didn't watch every game then. But remember, he got extended in Miami. And then after a while, they said, all right, fine. Enough's enough. And I'm starting to kind of feel that way around here right now with Tannehill. So this is the moment of truth for him. And I hope the fans understand that. I hope they realize it's a challenge. It's not putting him down. It's a challenge. But yesterday's performance was unacceptable. And as we said on Friday, we talked about, can we trust the Titans? Can we leave the kids by themselves without an unmitigated disaster happening? No. No, you could not. And in large part, team didn't look ready to play. That's not a surprise. We've seen the Titans over the years under Vrabel not be ready to play in games against bad teams. That is nothing new. But the quarterback. Bad day from the quarterback. And you can say whatever you want about it was this person's fault, it was that person's fault, it was have a bad day in the playoffs and you're going home. And it doesn't matter if you're the 1 seed, and it doesn't matter if you're at home playing the Bills or the Ravens or the Patriots or the Chiefs or the Raiders or the Chargers or the Steelers or the Texans. It doesn't matter. 615-737-1025. We'll get to your reactions. We'll get Caroline's reactions now that she's been kind enough to show up.
Well, thank you very much.
There you go.
You know, they always say a queen is never late. Everyone else is just simply early.
Yeah, that is not the case here. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus Sparkling Water with a Spark. It is a Titans Monday on Stillman & Company live from Bridgestone Arena. It's ESPN 1025, The Game.
It's game day in Smashville. Brought to you by Hermitage Design Center.
Now for Gromlin, right in front to score. Matt Duchene scores again.
The Preds are back home to face off against the Ducks. Pre-game coverage begins at 6 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, we have a major medical breakthrough. The WAVE technology at Hillside Medical Clinic was tested by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic, and the results are in. It's proven to increase blood flow by repairing blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause, call us now. And not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces powerful results in the bedroom. I don't think I've ever seen it fail. This is a $600 value, free to those that call in the next 2 minutes. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
Are you a father that is passionate about your fundamental constitutional right to parent your own child or children? Has your parenting time or your income been affected by COVID? This is Amanda J. Gentry, and I am a fierce defender of your constitutional rights. The courts in Tennessee are under an obligation to maximize equal parenting time. We do not live in an every other weekend world anymore. At the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, fathers are extremely important, much like my own father was. Go to AmandaJGentry.com or call or text 615-604-6263. That's AmandaJGentry.com.
This weekend, when you buy any piece of jewelry at Genesis, you'll get one of the year's coolest holiday gifts absolutely free. And the more you spend, the bigger the free gift. You heard us right. Yeti coolers, Ring security cameras, air fryers, even Apple iPad Air tablets. Absolutely free with purchase. Spend just $299 or more on a piece of jewelry, and Genesis gives you an amazing Echo Show device free. Spend $499 and you'll get the Fujifilm Mini Polaroid camera. Or how about an espresso coffee maker? Free when you spend $999 at Genesis Genesis this weekend, so you can get her that beautiful ring or pair of earrings for Christmas and get one of the year's hottest gifts at no additional charge. Treat yourself or your family. How about a Roomba i3 vacuum robot or an old school cool arcade game? When you spend at least $1,999 this weekend, or listen to this, spend $3,999 on a piece of jewelry and get a 55-inch 4K Samsung Smart TV. Yours free. This Friday through Cyber Monday. It's Genesis Diamonds' best Black Friday event ever. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Paul Feinbaum here for the Southeast leader for cranes and equipment rental, Craneworks. The Craneworks team in Nashville, Birmingham, and Mobile is ready to make your next construction or maintenance project a big success. Give Craneworks a call for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project. And don't forget, RentalWorks has a full line of rental equipment for jobs both big and small, and now offering qualified operators for all equipment, including aerial and earth-moving equipment. Call Craneworks at 877-282-LIFT or visit them on the web at craneworks.com.
Hey parents, here's some good news for America's future. Kids ages 5 to 11 are now eligible for a COVID vaccine. That means all those future CEOs and artists, world-class chefs and sports stars, the engineers and the innovators are eligible for a vaccine that can help protect their future. And it's specifically formulated just for them. Find vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
What's so difficult for the offense as a whole to get into a rhythm today?
We moved the ball well. We just kept shooting ourselves in the foot, turnovers, turnover on downs. We just penalties. We shot ourselves in the foot all day, and we got to be better. And it starts with me.
It wasn't we, Ryan. It wasn't we. I understand the quarterback always wants to say we. I get it. But this one needs to be about me. Like, there are sometimes as quarterback where you've got to get up there. And you heard right there, he says it starts with me. There are times as quarterback where you have to get up there and say, I lost this game for my team. And he lost this game for the Titans yesterday. I mean, that Texan team sucks. So I'm just going to say it like this. And again, I like Tannehill. I want Tannehill to be the guy. Like, I want Tannehill to be good enough for you to win a Super Bowl with. And it is really hard to win the Super Bowl without a single player getting injured. In fact, I would argue that that probably never happens. So you're going to have to accept injuries. When the Titans went to the Super Bowl in 1999, Yancey Thigpen was their number 2 wide receiver. He broke his ankle scoring a touchdown in the AFC Championship game. You have to get past it. You have to get guys out. Okay, next man up. Kevin Dyson was not supposed to be in on the play for the Music City Miracle. Derek Mason was. D. Mace was hurt. Kevin Dyson is out there. Touchdown. You have to get past it. This is the NFL, and nobody feels bad for you. So I want Tannehill to be the guy. Just like I wanted him to be the guy in 19, just like I thought he was the guy last year. But I'm starting to worry here. I'm starting to worry that Tannehill is more Trent Dilfer than he is guy that can win you a Super Bowl. That he is more Joe Flacco, if you're going to do it, where you have to have just a great team around him, no ifs, ands, or buts. And if that's the case, then I don't need to pay you $30 million. Now, there's nothing the Titans can do about it. They can't go out and get another quarterback this season. They can't go out and get another quarterback next season. They can't get a quarterback for the next season after that. So Tannehill's your quarterback. But I am losing faith in Ryan Tannehill unless he can prove, unless he can turn this around. Because we said it on Friday. All these guys are injured. All these guys are out. At some point, Tannehill's going to have to just say, hey, I got you guys. 4 picks. 4 interceptions. And again, it's not like we haven't been vocalizing our opinions about Tannehill's decision-making of late. So you all can have whatever opinion you want. I see you in the phone lines. We'll get to you in just a second. You guys can have whatever opinions on Tannehill you want. They can have whatever opinions they want. I'm just telling you, I am losing faith in him as a guy that can win a Super Bowl for this franchise. Can he get you to the playoffs? Yeah, he can get you to the playoffs. Can he win you a Super Bowl? When they got to the AFC Championship game at Kansas City and they lost, And people started throwing out this narrative in the national media about, Tannehill cannot carry you to the top. I'm like, wait a minute. The guy who lost the other championship game was Aaron Rodgers, and nobody's talking about him. Let's be fair here. Ryan Tannehill turned their season around, beat the Patriots, beat the Ravens, and he didn't throw for a lot of yards, but he hit the throws when he had to, and he didn't make mistakes. Let's be fair to Tannehill. Then Tannehill had a great season last year, had a terrible game in the playoffs against the Ravens. And I was like, okay, I need a little bit more now. And every game since that Raven game, it feels like it's worse. And it culminated itself yesterday. 4 interceptions. 4. Unbelievable. Your thoughts?
Well, when we had our official Tannehill caucus last week, I put out a poll of, are you worried about Tannehill's interceptions? Yes, no, or yes, but the Titans win, so who cares? And the 2 most voted for responses were either yes or yes, but the Titans win, so who cares? So who cares if he's throwing interceptions? What about now? What about now that the Titans aren't winning? What about now that, throw whatever interceptions you want, Ryan Tannehill, because as long as the team wins, that's all that matters. And sure, a win at the end of the day really is all that matters. A win is what gets you the top seed in the AFC. A win is what gets you through the playoffs. But what about the turnovers now? Because I said last week, you said 2 turnovers and like another fluky play. I thought, okay, maybe like 4 turnovers. And I said that almost facetiously because I didn't think that that's what would happen. Because I thought that was such an outrageous number of turnovers. And there was no way that the Titans were so undisciplined and could play that poorly that it would happen. And it did. And that's what came down to it yesterday. It was the turnovers. If you look at the stats, the Titans put up almost 500 yards of offense.
4 turnovers, 4 turnovers by Tannehill, 5 turnovers for the game. And
it could have been more.
What was Chester Rogers doing? What was he doing
What
yesterday?
was Des Fitzpatrick doing?
Des Fitzpatrick sucks. So I'm not, he's a rookie.
I'm not going to give him a
and
pass.
He sucks. Well, to me, Des Fitzpatrick should not be on the football field.
Yes, that's true.
He's only on the football field because they felt bad that they drafted him and they cut him and they put him on a practice squad. So it's like, all right, let's elevate the guy. That Des Fitzpatrick doesn't belong.
And they really don't have another option.
He does not belong in the National Football League. But, seriously.
The muffed punt.
What was Chester Rogers doing? You're an NFL veteran. And this is the thing with the Titans. They can't cut people for making mistakes. They can't bench people for making mistakes right now. But Tannehill's play right now, if you had Marcus, if this were the other way around, and Marcus was the backup, there'd be talk. I'm not saying it happened, and I wouldn't do it. For everybody out there that's saying that Jerry wants to bench Tannehill, I am not saying that. But there'd be talk. And if he has another game like that, there's going to be more talk, even though Logan Woodside's the backup. But, I'm losing faith in Tannehill. I am really, and if you were to say, okay, where were you at the start of all this? And am I wrong to make this about Tannehill today?
No, I don't think so.
So when they went to the AFC Championship game, my belief in Tannehill was like a 9 out of 10. Then when they lost the playoff game to the Ravens last year, it cut down to like a 7.5. Like where I'm starting to see the reality of I don't know. Oh, God, everybody warned me that he couldn't win me a big game, and they shut down Derrick Henry, and oh, goodness. But you know what? Tannehill's done a lot of good over the last 2 years. Hey, Tannehill's carved out a role for himself. He's great at it, okay. Then I started watching this season. I thought Tannehill played great in the second game against Seattle. Didn't have any problem with the terribleness of the first game because that was everybody, not just Tannehill. But that Colts game, when he went out there to start throwing the ball to the other team, I got pretty down on Tannehill. And people were like, how dare you? And then each week since then, he throws that ball right to Jordan Poyer, throws that ball right to the linebacker from the Chiefs, throws that ball right to Jalen Ramsey, throws that ball in the corner of the end zone that Jerome Boger wipes away with a bullcrap roughing the passer. And then yesterday, and I watched that first interception, and I thought, you know what, this guy's not going to change. At what point is this what you are? 7 weeks in a row? So if I was a 9 after the AFC Championship game, and I was a 7.5 after the Ravens, I'm like a 4 right now. I'm like a 3.5.
Oof.
I'm like I'd rather, how much is Tyrod Taylor making?
I have no idea.
Like $6 million maybe?
Maybe.
Okay. I'd rather pay a guy like that $6 million and save the 20 or whatever it is to go spend on other players than a guy that's going to throw the ball to the other team. Now, I still think Tannehill is a better player. And the thing that makes me so mad about this is that I know in my heart Tannehill can play better. I've seen Tannehill play better. With Marcus, a lot of it was hoping Marcus could play better. Like, oh gosh, I want to believe in Mariota. They drafted him. He's a great kid. He makes some superstar plays. He's had some big games. He developed early. But then at the end, it's like, Marcus can't do this. Mm-hmm. Marcus cannot be a starting quarterback that you can win with in the NFL. I know Tannehill can do this. And yet every week, it's just worse and worse. All right, I see your phones all lined up. We're to them next. 615-737-1025, because it is Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and by Focus Sparkling Water with a Spark. DrinkFocus.com, P-H-O-C-U-S. Stillman and Company right here at ESPN 1025 The Game. Let me tell you about Edmunds. That's right. Thanks to Edmunds for sponsoring the show. Buying a car is a major financial commitment, and it is often an overwhelming process. I think I can back that up. I've bought many cars, and it is overwhelming. Edmunds has been taking the stress out of the entire car shopping process for over 50 years, and they've been keeping track of everything happening in the market to help you shop with confidence. I told you all a couple of weeks ago I was looking for a Sprinter van. I'm like, what's the right Sprinter van? What's the right guy? Just pulled up Edmunds. Boom. Went right to Edmunds, and I looked right through it, and I found out where the closest ones were, which ones were offering home delivery. It's very, very simple. Not only that, with Edmunds, you can use their online tools to build your budget or calculate your financing options, and you can ensure any listing is a fair deal with built-in deal ratings. You can also get a free online appraisal in under 1 minute with options for a real cash offer from a participating dealership. No personal information required. Car shopping can be stressful. Edmunds is here to help. Visit Edmunds.com to get your free online appraisal today and start searching for vehicles in your area. That's EDMUNDS.com for cars. There's Edmunds.
A sloppy afternoon for the Titans ends in a bad loss to the Texans.
We turned the football over too many times, and our offense certainly was its own worst enemy.
We're reacting all day long.
It's just hard to overcome this every week.
On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Darren McFarland here. This Thanksgiving, be thankful for free bets. Yes, I said free bets. I hope I have your attention now. That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, has a Turkey Day no-brainer. Who doesn't love no-brainers? I know I do. New customers can bet just $1 on any Thanksgiving NFL game. Remember, it's a triple header. Triple header this year. Win $100 in free bets if either team scores a point. That's all you need to have happen. All DraftKings customers can also get in on a new same-game parlay offer that's sweeter than that pumpkin pie you're going to have. For the Thanksgiving games, all customers get a risk-free bet up to $25 if your same-game parlay doesn't win. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use that code 1025GAME and bet just $1 of your money on any Thanksgiving NFL game to win $100 in free bets if either team scores a point. That code again, 1025GAME, this Thanksgiving at DraftKings Sportsbook. You must be 21 years of age or older, Tennessee only. Restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook. For details, if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and needs help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
Neighbors Nashville has locations in Sylvan Park and Germantown and has been a local favorite for over 10 years. Neighbors Nashville serves great food, cold beer, has incredible entertainment, and the best happy hour in town, including 2-for-1s on drafts, bottles, and well drinks every Monday through Friday from 3 to 7. Plus drink specials for every Preds game and game day specials every Saturday and Sunday during football season. You never know who you'll run into at Neighbors Nashville, the best sports entertainment bar in the city.
New Amsterdam Vodka, born from an uncompromising passion for great vodka. From the water we use, to the grains we select, to our unique distillation process, a determined spirit flows through in everything we do. New Amsterdam Vodka goes all in to craft a supremely smooth vodka that is 5 times distilled for unparalleled smoothness, for a clean, crisp finish. Smooth enough to drink straight, yet distinct enough to enhance any cocktail. New Amsterdam Vodka.
After a whole month of pro values, Lowe's Provember event is ending soon, but pros like you still have time to save. With buy one, get one free deals on select DeWalt power tools and top values like a Spyder 2-pack of 4.5-inch diamond cutoff wheels for $14.98. Provember ends November 24th. Shop in-store or at Lowe's.com/Provember. Lowe's, the new home for pros. While supplies last, U.S. only, valid 10/28 through 11/24.
Hey Nashville, Vanderbilt football coach Clark Lee here, inviting you to tune in on ESPN 94.9 every Monday at 6 p.m. for the Commodore Hour, providing you with exclusive insights on Vanderbilt athletics.
Hey Nashville, this is Paul Feinbaum, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5, The Game.
Mike, is there anything you need to say to, or do you feel like you need to say to Ryan after a game like that, or do you feel pretty confident in his ability to turn this out?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we've seen Ryan perform at a high level, and offensive football at any level takes 11 guys, and so there was a lot of good football out there. Unfortunately, we turned the football over too many times, way too many times. I felt like our defense battled, and our offense certainly was, its own worst enemy.
There you go. That was Vrabel, and I expected nothing less from him after the game. Hey, we've seen Ryan play at a high level. I agree. It's 11 guys. I mean, it is 11 guys, but do you think the Bulls win the championship without Luke Longley or Ron Harper? I do. And so there you go. Tannehill, 4 interceptions yesterday. I promised phones because it is Reaction Monday, 615-737-1025. We're live at Bridgestone Arena. Phones we go. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Steven has been waiting patiently and is going to kick us off today. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Steven.
Hey, look, normally I'm one of those guys that gets frustrated when you're on Tannehill, and I was a massive defender. But it was a pretty bad day from Tannehill yesterday. But I am just as disappointed in the coaching yesterday as I am with the Tannehill interceptions, because you're averaging 4.8 yards per carry against a 31st rushing ranked defense, and your quarterback's throwing turnovers. You're down to your 4th-string wide receiver, and you know that Tannehill is not the guy that should be throwing the ball 50 flipping times. He threw the ball 52 times yesterday in a heavy downpour raining game where the game was not even that far out of hand.
Yeah, I mean, they were throwing it because they were losing, but I know what you mean.
I know, but kick the field goals, keep chunking away at it, play the field position game. It was like they were playing like they were way behind, and I understand it wasn't going good.
I'm going to back you up here. I appreciate your call. I thought Vrabel sucked. I thought Vrabel sucked yesterday. And I thought that right before the half when they threw the intentional grounding.
Oh, the intentional grounding.
That was when I was like, okay, everybody's head is shoved up their ass.
When Randy Bullock's on the sidelines, ready to go, warmed up, ready to kick a field goal, and
they were going to bring him out there, and then when what was it? We would think it was an encroachment penalty. So they moved it 5 yards closer. And so I'm like, it's 5 yards closer, kick the ball. When you spike it and you don't have a timeout left and you're under 10 seconds, kick the ball. And so when they sent Tannehill back out there, I was standing up there watching the game, and we were kind of off to the side of where they were. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, what good can happen here? I didn't think that they were going to get an intentional grounding. I thought Tannehill was going to throw an incomplete pass, or he was going to try to get it 20 yards closer to the sidelines or something. And so I'm standing up watching the game. Now, as far as the rain's concerned, I couldn't judge because I was with the Reese family and we were in a suite, so I was not getting rained on. So I don't know, what the rain was like. But I'm sitting there thinking, okay, what good can happen here? Maybe they hit a Hail Mary for a touchdown, but really nothing of big importance can happen that's going to make that big of a difference. And then when he threw the ball away, I saw a flag down, and somebody said maybe it's roughing the passer. And I thought, that's not roughing the passer. Uh-oh. And when he came out and said intentional grounding, and then, I don't know if the Titans know the rule book or not, but they started, special teams unit started walking on the field. I'm like, nope, fellas, that's a 10-second runoff.
You're done.
That's a 10-second. Now, some people are saying that the refs screwed up the officiating with the clock, and it shouldn't have been a 10-second runoff because the clock was stopped and the encroachment penalty. I don't know the semantics of that. I'm not paid millions of dollars to know every detail of the rule book, and the refs are. And so is Vrabel, so I'll give him that. But, like, what are you doing? Like, seriously, what are you doing? And that's on them. And I thought Vrabel stunk it up yesterday too. The other thing about the college point that I want to get to is I don't know why the Titans don't just, like, let's say Tannehill gets hurt, right? Knock on wood.
Mm-hmm.
Tannehill gets hurt. Logan Woodside comes in, right? Mm-hmm. And even though Logan's not as good as Tannehill, Logan has to go in and play every play like he's Tannehill. And you have to hope that it works out. Why don't they just give Deontay Foreman the ball? I don't, like, you were a team that relied heavily on giving the ball to Derrick Henry. Mm-hmm. Derrick Henry's hurt. Now you're bull crapping around with, well, let's give it to old man Peterson and let's give it to this guy I've never heard of who actually played okay.
Yeah, pretty solid.
But
game.
like, let's give it to him a little bit. Like, just give the ball to Foreman. He's the best running back you have. He's been the best running back in 3 games. I thought he was decent last year when he backed up for Derrick. Just give him the ball. And they won't do that either. So to the texter's or caller's point, I agree about the not running, because I think in that kind of game, give the ball to Foreman and let him go and don't throw it 52 times. Adam is up next here on Reaction Monday. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, man. So as a day one Titan guy, man, I thought the ceremony for your boy was really cool. Seeing Fish really brought out some that made being in the rain worth it for sure, man. I will say, you remember Jeff Fisher? He said this feels like one of those second half type of games. We do not have the players for that. If you remember him saying, I feel like J-Rob isn't getting into the Ring of Honor anytime soon, and I put the loss on J-Rob. I know you want to put it on Tannehill. Floyd made moves that when Steve was struggling, you go to Neil O'Donnell, you go to Billy Volek. When people got hurt, they were deep. They drafted deep. They had deep free agents that would actually stay on the field. They're relying too much on Tannehill, man, with guys that no other teams would start. You said you didn't know that running back. I'd never heard of that running back. Why is he playing in the first quarter? I mean, it's an important game. So I think J-Rob needs to be looked at more, man. He's missing too much, and, people aren't on the field. So I put it on J-Rob.
Thank you, Adam. I don't. I mean, look, I think John Robinson took risks, and they were risks that you all liked. They weren't risks I liked. I didn't like drafting Caleb Farley in the first round, and I didn't like trading for Julio Jones. And those are risks they took. And where are those guys? Injured reserve. So I get it. Football's very, we love the guy, we hate the guy, we love the guy, we hate the guy. That's kind of how football is. The reality of it, we win, we love them, we lose, we hate them. It's like last week somebody called in and said, how about the job Robinson and Vrabel are doing? And I said, breaking news, the fans like the general manager and the coach when they win. Here you go. Why is this practice squad running back in the game? Because he's the third down running back. And shockingly, they had third downs in the first half. But, my bigger thing right now is this team is built around Tannehill. Whether or not that's fair, it's totally built around Tannehill. If you had Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback or Russell Wilson as your quarterback, your team would be built differently. You maybe not need Derrick Henry like you need Derrick Henry if you had Russell Wilson as your starting quarterback. But you don't have Russell Wilson as your starting quarterback. You have Tannehill, and Tannehill has certain needs and things around him that has got to have happen. And when you're paying a guy that kind of money, he's got to be able to shoulder the load in a big game. And he's definitely got to be able to shoulder the load. For me, I feel personally like Tannehill has to be able to shoulder the load against this kind of team. I get it. This is not the ideal situation. Life is not ideal for any of us. And there are things that you have to figure out in your job. And that's why I don't have sympathy for Tannehill today. And that's why, and I don't know the text line, and I guess we can discuss the text line. I'm sure it's exploded right now. But I feel like a lot of it is, let's be sure to point the finger at this decision right here. Like, the receivers were all Rob Moore. No. Like, this is a league where you look at, okay, why'd you lose? Oh, you turned the ball over 5 times. Who turned it over 4 of those 5? John Robinson did not turn the ball over 5 times yesterday. Now, you want to get on John Robinson because he went out and traded for an injured wide receiver and now he's stuck with Des Fitzpatrick? Okay. You can get on John Robinson for that. But it ignores the fact that Tannehill's not good enough. Because if you're going to blame it on Nick Westbrook-Akina and blame it on Des Fitzpatrick and blame it on Chester Rogers and blame it on those guys, then you're already saying it's not Ryan's fault because he's not good enough to make up for that against arguably the worst team in the NFL. We're back to your phones. 615-737-1025, and we have not hit the text line, so we will hit that as well. But I do see your phone, so we're to those right here, Stillman and Company. 615-737-1025. TD makes a good point, by the way. He texts me and says, quote, that running back no one has ever heard of had a better game than Foreman and Peterson. That's true.
That is true.
Now, I will say this. I still think Foreman's running the ball the best out of all of them. Like, consistently running the ball. I know this is going to sound crazy. I go to New England, and I'd give Deontay Foreman the ball 35 times if I could. I've decided. And I'm probably going to lose. I'm probably going to lose doing that. But I'm definitely going to lose if I throw Tannehill 52 times. 615-737-1025, Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Lots of sunshine today. Unfortunately, it's not going to warm us up very much. High temperatures this afternoon only headed to the middle and upper 40s.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Gary Ashton here. Most people in Nashville know me as the don't sell without the intel and the guaranteed offer guy. But despite my accent, I'm also 100% guaranteed Nashville. I'm a guaranteed musician, a guaranteed dog lover, and you're also guaranteed to see me at every Titans and Preds game. Guaranteed offer means the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage will sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give you up to 90 days to close. So there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping the people we call neighbors and friends, which is why we've had a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. Remember, Gary Ashton, guaranteed Nashville.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit over 10 years old? Now is the time to replace, and waiting can cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Central AC unit pricing continues to rise and will rise up another 20% next year. Get ahead of the increase now with up to 60 months no interest financing. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling offers a 10-year part and labor warranty on all new installs. Visit springhillac.com or call them at 615-778-8855.
312 Pizza Company is family owned and operated, bringing you a slice of Chicago to Nashville. 312 Pizza Company specializes in deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, and all things Chicago style. Always made from scratch using secret family recipes passed down generation to generation. 312 Pizza is open every day except for Tuesdays and is located in Germantown with dine-in, takeout, and curbside available. Call 615-730-7888 to order 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
If you're with Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, you're paying too much for cell service. It's Jill Schlesinger. Did you know Pure Talk gives you the same great coverage on the same great 5G network as one of the big guys for about half the cost? The average family is saving over $800 a year. I know what you're thinking. How do they do that? Pure Talk doesn't have thousands of retail stores and overhead that you have to pay for. And they don't charge you for the added perks that you never use. You can keep your phone number and keep your phone or get huge discounts on the latest iPhones and Androids. Unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data is just $30 a month. From your cell phone, dial pound 250 and say Jill50 to save 50% off your first month. That's pound 250, say Jill50. Pure Talk is simply smarter wireless.
Robbie Stanley.
Maybe it doesn't hurt their bottom line this year. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen on that front.
Joe Rexrode.
5 guys who are on the roster are not going to be on the roster.
Get your your morning started with Robbie and Rexroad every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You're listening to Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
5 catches today for Hilliard. Tannehill looking end zone, and it's caught! Touchdown! Dez Fitzpatrick! His first NFL touchdown!
Dez Fitzpatrick had a touchdown yesterday. Anthony Ferguson had a touchdown yesterday, so...
Anthony Ferguson also bailed out Hilliard big time.
And Zach Cunningham celebrating, bailed out Hilliard big time. I mean, it was a sloppy performance all around. Thing is, though, I'm not banking on Hilliard to win me the Super Bowl. Tannehill? Banking on him. Let's go to your phones. As promised, 615-737-1025. Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and by Focus, sparkling water with a spark. DrinkFocus.com. We're live at Bridgestone Arena. Craig has been waiting patiently on the running backs. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Craig.
Hey, guys. First, let me say fantabulous job on Friday's special for the GM. I've got to carry off on some of the things that have already been said. One, you need to pick a running back. I mean, we had, 23 carries between three running backs? Two. I mean, the next thing is Ryan Tannehill is starting to remind me a little bit of Rex Grossman. I know that's a low blow, but that's what it's starting to remind me of.
That's a hot take.
Yep. All right. I'll hang up and listen, guys.
Thank you for your call. I do agree that I think Foreman needs to be the running back of the Titans. I think that the Titans need to decide that until Derek gets back, Deontay Foreman is the running back. And look, you can make a case if you want Adrian Peterson to be the running back, though I don't know what that case is going to be. I'm sure you can make a case. And if you think that, they should give it to Hilliard because Hilliard had a nice game and can catch the ball out of the backfield and do all of that, then you can make your cap. Fine, whatever. But I do agree with the caller that I do feel like they need to go out there and decide, okay, this guy is our running back, and they need to get back to playing the way they want to play. And it's hard. Like, I know I complain about this all the time, and Joe and I argue about it, but I think it's hard to put faith in a running back that hasn't given you the reason to have that kind of faith. Like, to put your faith in, I'll use, like Eddie George, it was easy to put your faith in Eddie George because Eddie was so good for so long that you had everything you needed as far as Eddie was concerned. Like, you knew. And you knew you could give him the ball. Derek has a 99-yard touchdown run, goes for 238 in a game against Jacksonville, runs for 170. You know you can give the ball to Derek now. This is different with Deontay Foreman. I am telling you, you have to give the ball to Deontay Foreman. Why? Because you got to give it to somebody, and to me, he's the guy to give it to. And that it does not feel as comforting as when you know you can give that guy the ball 30 times, but I think the Titans are built a certain way, and they have to play like it even if Derek's not in there. Now, they're probably going to lose some games doing that, but they're definitely going to lose games throwing 4 interceptions against the Texans. What do we have in the text line? 615-737-1025.
Adam in Portland has a spicy one for you. He says, tell me I'm wrong. Imagine Steve McNair starts at quarterback yesterday. With that team around him, we still probably lose that game.
Yeah, I don't buy that. And I'm not here. I mean, look, you can always glorify everything. Steve McNair didn't win every game he played. And Steve McNair lost to some bad teams. Steve McNair lost to the Washington then Redskins with Steve Spurrier as the head coach. Patrick Ramsey was the quarterback. And they lost to that team. So it's not like Steve McNair was perfect. And I totally hear that. But I don't think Steve McNair loses that game yesterday. And I think part of that is because Steve McNair would have started running the ball himself if things were like that. I'll be honest with you, I don't think Vince Young loses that game yesterday. I think if Vince Young is the quarterback of the night, this may be the hottest take of the day. And I am not trying for a hot take, I'm just being honest. This is how bad Tannehill was yesterday. If Vince Young is the quarterback of the Titans yesterday, they win. Because I actually think Vince was a pretty good player. He just never really seemed to get any better. And I think his coach was probably sabotaging him a little bit. But You talk about just pure ball player, Vince Young could play. And in a game like that, that's all you needed was a pure ball player. I get it. Those receivers were not doing what Tannehill wanted to do. I saw Paul Kaharski post a clip earlier today of Tannehill kind of lecturing Des Fitzpatrick on the sidelines. But guess what? You got to get that stuff figured out before you get on the football field because you're the quarterback. Whenever a guy makes the Hall of Fame, they never sit there and said, he had 800 touchdown passes. But remember that one, he got lucky because the ball bounced in the air and it went off the guy's helmet and it went into his arms and the guy ran into the end zone for a touchdown. Nobody ever talks about that. What if Alex Smith in 2017 had led the Kansas City Chiefs to the Super Bowl? Kansas City was considered to be one of the contenders. What if they had led the Chiefs to the Super Bowl that year? Would Alex Smith have kept his job and Patrick Mahomes not got it? I don't know.
Maybe.
But you know why I'm bringing that up?
Why?
Because Alex Smith lost in the playoffs because Marcus Mariota threw a touchdown pass to himself. That was a fluke. It was a fourth down. Ball got batted in the air. Marcus caught it, went into the end zone for a touchdown. I have never seen anything like it in my life. And it'll probably never happen again in a playoff. And guess what? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, at the end of the day, these Titan fans are going to call and hate the coach if they lose and love the coach if they win. And what I'm telling you is that in order for you to win, there are certain levels of expectations that you have to have, and certain expectations are different for different people. It is a different expectation for Ryan Tannehill than it is for Chester Rogers. But do you know why it's a different expectation for Ryan Tannehill? Because he makes $30 million. Because when Chester Rogers has another ball hit off the back of his leg when he's running around in no man's land, guess what's going to happen to Chester Rogers the next day if that happens again? He's out of here. He's gone. That's what's going to happen. You can't do that to Tannehill. So you got to have Tannehill play better. And that's where I keep getting all worked up is I think if Steve McNair would have taken this over with his legs. I could be wrong, but this is where you're telling a guy, hey, I get it. Team's down. You got to win. You have to win. LeBron James gets no sympathy for the fact that he lost an NBA Finals against Golden State where Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love both got hurt. He's out there by himself. You got to play with Matthew Dellavedova, and nobody cares. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll get back to your reaction. But coming up next, so one person who played, who's got NFL credentials and whose opinion I really trust takes Tannehill's side. One person who's got NFL credentials puts the blame on Tannehill. What do we make of that? Next, Stillman and Company live from Bridgestone Arena. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The voice of reason.
If I'm the official, I would send both teams to the locker room and say, this is going to stop.
The voice of the fan.
Our entire team's a mash unit right now.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Celebrate Thanksgiving with Social Furniture and save up to 70% off all furniture. They have sofas, sectionals with chase lounge, and recliners that are all push-button electric and wall away. They have all colors to choose from for your comfort watching any hockey game. All of them are plus leather, microfiber, and Chanel's. They have same-day delivery with no down payments and no interest. Forget the big box store. Support local. Support social. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
Hey, it's Jared. Your body needs water. That doesn't mean it has to be boring. And I'm here to tell you to give Focus a try. Focus is a sparkling water with a spark. It's infused with a boost of natural tea caffeine so you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S, on the web at drinkfocus.com.
Hey, Darren McFarland here. This Thanksgiving, be thankful for free bets. Yes, I said free bets. I hope I have your attention now. That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, has a Turkey Day no-brainer. Who doesn't love no-brainers? I know I do. New customers can bet just $1 on any Thanksgiving NFL game. Remember, it's a triple header this year. Win $100 in free bets if either team scores a point. That's all you need to have happen. All DraftKings customers can also get in on a new same-game parlay offer that's sweeter than that pumpkin pie you're going to have. For the Thanksgiving games, all customers get a risk-free bet up to $25 if your same-game parlay doesn't win. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use that code 1025GAME and bet just $1 of your money on any Thanksgiving NFL game to win $100 in free bets if either team scores a point. That code again, 1025GAME, this Thanksgiving at DraftKings Sportsbook. You must be 21 years of age or older, Tennessee only. Restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook. For details, if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and needs help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
People of all ages can experience spine pain. What hurts the most is what it does to your life, making simple activities feel like an uphill battle. Houston Clinic Orthopedics and their team of specialists aim to get you back to your active and enjoyable life. Let Houston Clinic Orthopedics bring lasting relief if you're suffering from any of the following: spinal stenosis, herniated discs, sciatica, degenerative disc disease, and more. To experience world-class orthopedic care, visit tn.houston.com, where experience matters.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman. On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live at Bridgestone Arena today. Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus. Sparkling water with a spark. Drink Focus, PHOCUS.com. And our Preds Game Day broadcast live at Bridgestone Arena, presented by Hermitage Design Center, the professional source for lighting, hardware, appliance, custom kitchens, and baths on the web at gohermitage.com. So Chris Sanders calls me today, and saw Chris yesterday, but Chris Sanders calls me, and he said, I watched the tape, and I want you to know that 3 of the 4 interceptions, according to Chris, 3 of the 4 interceptions were not Tannehill's fault. So he says the first one to A.J. Brown, where the linebacker was just standing there, that was Tannehill's fault. Which, by the way, how many times have we seen that? Where Tannehill's just looking at a guy and just throws it, and there's a linebacker, and it's like, were you not looking? And the obvious answer to that is no, he was not.
Right.
Because the linebacker's just standing there. I've never even heard of this linebacker who intercepted that ball.
There's a lot of players in the Texans I've never heard of.
So then Chris was telling me that on the other 3 interceptions, they weren't Tannehill's fault, and they weren't necessarily the wide receiver that it was intended for's fault. So
Whose
on one
fault
of
was
them,
it?
he was telling me that, like, Michael Pruitt is supposed to clear his guy out, and he doesn't clear his guy out. So his guy is staying in a zone where he's not supposed to be. And so because he's staying in the zone he's not supposed to be, when Tannehill tries to throw to the receiver, there's another DB over the top or something that intercepts the ball.
Who was the intended receiver on that one?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand the argument that 2 of the 4 of them were probably on Des Fitzpatrick, but back to your point, I
one
have
of
a
them,
tough
Fitzpatrick,
time.
didn't run back to the ball.
Right, he
So it was
didn't
a curl
run the
back,
correct
and he didn't
route,
run
and
back.
you could tell that Tannehill didn't necessarily trust him. You could think, Des, you got it. Des, you got it.
Okay, well, if you don't trust somebody, you don't
Then you
throw
don't
them the
throw
ball.
to them.
You cannot throw them the ball. And I know people say, well, then who's he supposed to throw the ball to, Jared? Then get him out of the game. I mean, then you got to call something else. I mean, again, this is the NFL. Now, Blake Bedingfield writes at paulkaharski.com. And look, Chris played in the NFL. This is the one thing I'm going to say. What position did Chris play?
Wide receiver.
What position does Chris coach?
Wide receiver.
So if Chris is going to blame anybody naturally, who's it going to be?
The wide receiver.
Okay. Now, Blake Bedingfield wrote at paulkaharski.com, Blake was hired by Floyd, and he was a 10-year scout or 15-year scout or whatever by the Titans. And he wrote at paulkaharski.com, He said, Tannehill has gotten into a bad habit of staring A.J. Brown down when he is pressured or needs a conversion on a critical down. His second interception came on a poorly thrown ball to the covered Des Fitzpatrick near the goal line. Tannehill's third pick was the second by a former Titans defensive back, Desmond King. Fitzpatrick quit on the route. King jumped in front and took it away. So that right there is Fitzpatrick's fault, which, again, we need to have a discussion about if Des Fitzpatrick can't even finish his route, why is he in the game? Like
Who
that,
else do the Titans have at this point,
it doesn't matter. Go get somebody off of somebody else's practice squad. I get it. You screwed up. You shouldn't have picked the guy. You already admitted it by cutting him. You got him on your practice squad.
But you're digging
you
a deeper
elevate
hole
him
with
up. Just
him.
get him out of here. If he can't do what he's supposed to do, and I hate to break it to you, but it's November 22nd. If he can't do what he's supposed to do, just get him out of here. It doesn't matter where you were picked. It doesn't matter who you were picked by. And honestly, it doesn't matter why you were picked. But if you can't finish your route and it's going to cost me a football game, get him out of here. Bedingfield writes, the fourth interception by Tannehill was a pass intended for Ferkser. There were two stick routes, one short and one intermediate, and the short cornerback stepped in front of the intermediate route and easily made the interception. It said talking about different things or whatever, but at the end, Blake Bedingfield, when putting together his negatives, he puts it on Tannehill, talking about the fact that, trying to get down to the bottom of this, boy, he writes a lot. Here, it said, goodness gracious. Negatives, Ryan Tannehill, Chester Rogers. And this is the line that scares me from a football guy, because I can kind of, and I'm not saying that Blake's opinion is what Floyd's opinion would have been, because they definitely did not agree on everything.
Right.
But I will say I can hear Floyd talking about this, which is when it comes to Tannehill, Blake writes, quote, the Texans showed life and the Titans gave them opportunities with an early turnover by Tannehill. Then Tannehill ended the day with 4 interceptions and 2 fumbles. He looked uncomfortable with the supporting cast. Tannehill needs a comfort level with his receivers. He has proven to have success when he is surrounded by players that are on the same page with him. Tannehill can work in players like Westbrook Akina, Jeff Swaim, Anthony Ferkser, and spread the ball around when he has his go-to players like Brown and Derrick Henry to rely on when it is critical down situations. He's a solid veteran quarterback, but, Blake writes, not a signal caller that can do it by himself like the top quarterbacks in the league. And this is what I do wonder with Tannehill, which is, okay, like, we don't live in a world of absolutes. Social media has taught people now, like, either this isn't the best or this is the worst, and we don't live in that. I have never once thought Tannehill was Aaron Rodgers. I have never once thought that he was Russell Wilson. I have never thought he was Patrick Mahomes on his good days. I have never thought he was an elite quarterback. But
And
I also
nobody is
never
asking
thought
him to be.
I never thought he was as, like, I didn't think he was Tyrod Taylor. Like, I didn't think he was Case Keenum. You know, these guys that are backups. He's playing like a backup right now. And when people say, well, you know, Tannehill's got to be comfortable with a supporting cast, I mean, every good quarterback around the league complains about the players they have. Every good quarterback. Russell has Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf in Seattle. He's not happy. Aaron has Devontae Adams in Green Bay. He's not happy.
Who very well could be the best wide receiver in the league.
I mean, so these guys being unhappy with what you have is not something new. And having to work guys in. Peyton Manning had to work guys in. Everyone wants to say Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, as if those were the only 2 receivers that he ever threw to in his entire life. As if he didn't win with Joseph Adai and Dominic Rhodes at running back. Those weren't Hall of Famers. Edgerrin James was. He didn't win a Super Bowl with those guys. What about Jacob Tamian, Ben Utek, Eric Decker? You know, guys that weren't very good. Like, they weren't good. Like, they were average players, and he won with them. And he won big with those guys. I'm talking about beating the Texans. And so I hear what Chris is saying, and I don't think that if you were a coach, like if you were Vrabel, and you were to go around the room and start dishing out blame, I don't think you're going to leave the wide receivers alone. So if Pruitt didn't take his guy, and I think that's the intermediate route that Blake Bedingfield was referring to, where the guy just stepped in front and grabbed it, and Chris is saying that basically it was Pruitt's job to get that guy out of there, and he might be right. But even if that's the case, and he didn't do it, At the end of the day, the quarterback is the one who's responsible for this. And if I had multiple people, if Blake had said, hey, this was not Tannehill's fault, and Chris says, hey, this is not Tannehill's fault, then maybe you have a chance to convince me of that. But I'm just dealing in the reality of what the NFL is, which is if on one hand you're telling me that I got to pay you $30 million because if I let you go, I can't bring somebody else in here who can do what you can do for me. And on the other hand, I think that I can get the same out of Jameis Winston. That's a problem. Like the quarterback market, it's pretty crazy how these quarterbacks get paid. It's pretty wild, right? Like they get paid an exorbitant amount of money, and that's the market. Like you have to pay your quarterback the most. But you don't really have to pay your quarterback the most unless you have a really good quarterback. So if you've got, for example, if you've got Deshaun Watson when he's not in trouble, you got to pay him the most. If you've got Mahomes, you got to pay him the most. Rodgers, you got to pay those guys the most. Do you really have to pay Tannehill the most? Do you really have to pay him $30 million? Do you really have to be committed to him for the next 2 years? Or can you go out and get one of these guys that's going to come free at the end? Can you go out and get Jared Goff to do the same thing? That's my issue here. You know what the Indianapolis Colts are right now? The Indianapolis Colts are the Tennessee Titans. They've learned how to play that way because they realized, you know what? Instead of our average quarterback trying to carry us, let's go ahead and turn around and give the ball to the best running back in the NFL.
Worked out for them pretty well.
Who is the best running back in the NFL when Derrick Henry's hurt? So for me, I look at Tannehill right now and I say, hey, if you don't trust a guy to run the right route, don't throw him the ball. And if you can't throw somebody the ball, you got to go to Vrabel and you got to say you can't put him in the game. Tom Brady, I was told that you drop a ball with Tom, you run the wrong route with Tom, you get another chance. You do it again, you will not get the football from Tom Brady. And maybe Tannehill needs to be more like that. You know, he's always been a spread the ball around and get it going and all kinds of, he's always been that kind of guy. Mm-hmm. I'm going to throw to the open man. I'm going to do, that's always been what he's done. Maybe he's got to say to these guys, look, if I can't trust you to do what you're supposed to do. We talked about Derrick Henry holding guys accountable earlier in the season. I think Tannehill, maybe if you can't do what I'm telling you to do, then you will not be here. And maybe that has to be the message. And I just, you know, I hear what Chris is saying about Des Fitzpatrick doesn't run his route. Desmond King just goes in front and catches the ball. And that's unacceptable. But I am still telling you that this is a quarterback league. And the quarterback has to be the one that keeps the team from losing the game against a team that sucks that bad. And that's where it's like I have sympathy for the situation Tannehill is in, but I also understand that with the responsibility and with the contract and with the position comes the fact that in that game, you have to get your team through it. If they had gone to the Rams and they had lost, and Tannehill had tried to play well, but he threw for 187 yards and an interception, and he was on his back the whole time, and we would have said he doesn't have the players that it takes to win. And I think a lot of us would have said, okay. But this is the Texans. That's my biggest difference. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We are to your phones next, 615-737-1025. And then I do wonder this. How much of the injury bug do we factor into why the Titans lost yesterday, or accepting of the fact that the Titans lost yesterday? And again, this is being realistic and not loser talk, though talking about how much did the injuries affect you in a loss to the Texans certainly does feel very loser talkish. 615-737-1025 is our phone. Oh, Chris just texted me and asked if he can call in. Sure. Why not? We love Chris. So I'm going to text Chris and say he can. Yes. There you go. So I guess Chris is going to call in at some point, too. 615-737-1025, Stillman and Company. We are live today at Bridgestone Arena. Again, the Preds have a game. Go to thegamenashville.com/deals to check out Nashville's best deal. The deal this week is a buy one, get one of range passes at the Nashville Armory, a value of $50 for only $25. Nashville Armory is Tennessee's premier shooting facility, whether seeking basic to advanced firearm training or shooting full auto machine guns. In their half caliber, .50 caliber. In their .50 caliber rated range. Buy, train, and shoot at Nashville Armory. Nashville Armory located at 4290 Neilwood Drive in Nashville. Website is armoryranges.com. Get your deal now at thegamenashville.com /deals. I think you can tell from that read I'm not a huge gun person, but I will say this. I am a big fan of the Nashville Armory. So, I'm just throwing it out there.
That's all that matters.
Jared, I'm not a huge gun guy. But I do love the Nashville Armory. I love the people who run the Nashville Armory. I think they are great people. And I really mean that. So there you go. Go to thegamenashville.com /deals to get yours today. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
It's game day in Smashville. Brought to you by Hermitage Design Center.
Now for Gromlin, right in front to score. Matt Duchene scores again.
The Preds are back home to face off against the Ducks. Pre-game coverage begins at 6 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You may have heard that Allstate has new low auto rates, but isn't it time to see for yourself? Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
Hey Nashville, we think you deserve the very best driving experience, and now is the time for our Season of Change CPO event at Mercedes-Benz of Music City. When you purchase a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, you're backed by the remaining new vehicle limited warranty. Once that expires, the certified pre-owned limited warranty goes into effect, providing an additional 12 months of coverage with unlimited miles. See all the perks and exceptional offers for your certified pre-owned vehicle from Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
This weekend, when you buy any piece of jewelry at Genesis, you'll get one of the year's coolest holiday gifts absolutely free. And the more you spend, the bigger the free gift. You heard us right. Yeti coolers, Ring security cameras, air fryers, even Apple iPad Air tablets, absolutely free with purchase. Spend just $299 or more on a piece of jewelry, and Genesis gives you an amazing Echo Show device free. Spend $499 and you'll get the Fujifilm Mini Polaroid camera. Or how about an espresso coffee maker? Free when you spend $999 at Genesis this weekend. So you can get her that beautiful ring or pair of earrings for Christmas and get one of the year's hottest gifts at no additional charge. Treat yourself or your family. How about a Roomba i3 vacuum robot or an old school cool arcade game when you spend at least $1,999 this weekend? Or listen to this. Spend $3,999 on a piece of jewelry and get a 55-inch 4K Samsung Smart TV. Yours free. This Friday through Cyber Monday. It's Genesis Diamonds' best Black Friday event ever. Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Hey, this is Jared, the owner of MTGRT.com. Have you heard about those pesky appraisal gaps? We have too. That's why for our buyers, we create a custom appraisal gap analysis. You know what? A strong appraisal gap analysis from MTGRT.com helps prepare your offer for what could be. Let us help you make your dream home a reality. Text me on my cell today at 615-969-2257 or schedule time for us to talk online at MTGRT.com.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
The new Total Wine & More has the largest selection in Nashville, with over 8,000 wines and friendly guides to help you find your next favorite. Over 2,500 beers, including 1,200 local favorites, perfect for pairing with your late-night hot chicken. And 5,000 spirits, 900 from right here in Tennessee. And we carry tons of your favorite big rock star brands. Order online for in-store or curbside pickup. Come explore your new Total Wine & More at 330 Franklin Road in the Brentwood Place Shopping Center.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Looked like a couple of the picks today throws to Dez. I know you guys haven't had a lot of time together. Was that a situation maybe where there were some miscommunications on those, some routes that were different?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the details of everything. At the end of the day, it all falls squarely upon me, and I have to be better.
There you go. That was Tannehill, and I agree. There you go. I agree. It all falls on you. And you may say, but Jared, Des Fitzpatrick didn't this or that. By the way, when does Chris Sanders texted me if you could call in? I'm waiting for Chris Sanders to call in. Tannehill, it all falls on me. Done. The end. There you go. I'm fine with that.
Do you think he actually believes that, or is that Tannehill speak?
So I don't know.
I think he should believe that because I think that's your job when you're the quarterback of a football team.
I would say this. I don't care if he believes it. That's how the NFL works.
Yeah.
Like, hey, here's Tannehill's career in a nutshell. Goes to Miami, puts up a bunch of stats early. He might be the next Dan Marino. Doesn't win any games. Gets let go in Miami, traded to the Titans. He's a backup. Marcus stinks it up. He goes in there. He's a backup that's playing well, can't carry you, but man, they keep winning. Oh, man, now he's a Pro Bowl. Now he's hey, he might be the guy. He might be. Hey, he has a passer rating like Joe Montana. Oh, my goodness. He's leading them into playoffs. He should be Pro Bowler over Deshaun Watson. He should be give him the contract, extend the contract with that phony restructure. You know, Tannehill's the man. Throws dumps interceptions. Well,
interceptions happen.
No, it's okay. It's all right.
Everyone's hurt.
4 interceptions against the Texans. This is how the league works. If you're a passenger on the bus, which I did not say Ryan Tannehill was when they went to the AFC Championship game in 2019, but when you are a passenger on the bus, you're going to get more credit than you deserve because you play quarterback. And that's what happened. Tannehill hit some big throws in those playoff games. Yes, he did. Ferkser for 2 of them in New England, Raymond, Jonnu Smith in the Ravens game. Tannehill hit some big throws now. Tannehill's won a lot of games for this team. But it just feels like this year, Tannehill's decision-making has gone in the toilet. And we can put the blame on Des Fitzpatrick all we want. But the truth is, going into yesterday, we all knew Des Fitzpatrick stunk. And so it shouldn't be a surprise when Des Fitzpatrick stinks. And so for you to ask John Glennon in that question, how much of it's on Des and how much of it is to hear Tannehill say, I'm not going to get into that. It's all on me. I agree. You're the quarterback, bro. That's how this league works. It is crazy how this league works. But unless you're Trent Dilfer and you're getting 87 yards a game of total offense, but your defense isn't allowing a single point, everybody is always going to overrate you when you win at quarterback. Here's the one thing I'll say. When's the last time Tom Brady, and I mean this, when's the last time that Tom Brady, that we looked at Brady and said, well, you know what? I know Brady, I know Brady doesn't have Gronk's hurt, and this guy's out, and that guy's out, and this guy's out, but we shouldn't expect the Patriots to win. I remember when the Patriots had no receivers 2 years ago in the playoffs. And guess what? The Patriots still got to the playoffs. They still hosted a home playoff game. People still say, well, you got to be scared of Brady. Because Brady has turned a lot of guys that aren't very good, like David Givens, into really rich people. And that's what Tannehill has to do. Tannehill's made one guy a lot of money, Jonnu Smith. And maybe Corey Davis. But I think Corey probably would have gotten paid anyways because of his draft stock and whatever. He made one guy a lot of money. It's time for Tannehill to step up. It's not fair. Life is not fair in a lot of our professions. I told the story on the radio last week about my situation a year ago. Guess what happened on this Monday a year ago? We're getting ready to do the show, and Ryan texts me and goes, hey, Floyd called and said he has to miss this week because he's got to get something taken care of. Now, we didn't know what it was, And we didn't know what that would mean. But guess what? All of a sudden, in the middle of football season, when the Titans are on their way to the playoffs, my partner's gone. And at the end of the day, I think a lot of people probably felt bad for me. They probably didn't know what was going on because we couldn't tell them. But I knew in my heart that at the end of the day, my job is to host this radio show.
Mm-hmm.
The GM would have looked at it and would have said, I want you to do this show to the best of your abilities, and I want you to still put out a good show, even though I'm not there. Because that's what he would have expected of me, and that's what I would have expected of him if I wasn't here. And nobody cares. You can't do the show without the guy. Ultimately, people are going to say, they really had a good show together, but then once he lost him, he just wasn't the same anymore. He just wasn't very good. And when you're not very good, what happens to you in an industry like this or an industry like that?
You don't have a job.
You're out. So this is how I feel about Tannehill. Is like, I get people that are going to try to make excuses, but it's a 4-interception game against the Texans. My God.
And I think that's why I'm getting frustrated with the excuse making for Ryan Tannehill of look at all of the injuries that this team is dealing with, which, yes, I understand that sets the Titans back big time. I mean, imagine if they had A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, Derrick Henry, and a fully healthy defense. That would have been a way different game. But the Titans still found a way to put up 420 yards of offense.
You know what's crazy?
It's not like they couldn't move the ball.
You know why the Texans got into this game?
Because of the turnovers. Because
Because
they were set
Ryan
up for
Tannehill early in the game threw an interception he shouldn't have thrown. That's why.
In the 5 turnovers, the Texans were able to capitalize off of 3 of them. They scored points off of 3 of 5 turnovers.
Ryan Tannehill's first interception. Ryan Tannehill's first interception totally changed the game. At that point, now the Texans have a little bit of life. And that's, again, this is the NFL. When you go in the Hall of Fame, they don't tell you who caught all your touchdown passes. They don't say, that was... They don't say, hey, that was an amazing catch that led to that one, and that was Ben Roethlisberger's going to go in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a good throw, so I'm not taking anything away from Ben. Ben Roethlisberger's going to go into the Super Bowl. And when Ben goes to the Super Bowl, they're going to talk about that game-winning touchdown pass that he made in the back of the end zone of the 2008 Super Bowl. It was one of the best catches I've ever seen from Santonio Holmes. An amazing catch. You think when Ben goes in the Super Bowl, they're going to say, and he couldn't have done it without Santonio Holmes' great touchdown catch? No,
Probably
they're not. They're not. And this is the league. And nobody feels bad for you in this league. And this is where I'm looking at it saying, hey, you want to be treated like a big boy team? You don't make excuses when you lose games you shouldn't lose. You point your finger at your quarterback. That's what you do. Like, you look at your guys and you say, hey, you've got to get your team past this, and you can't throw the ball to the other team. And Blake Bedingfield's telling you, hey, negative number 1, Tannehill. Tannehill's saying after the game, put it on me. I get it. Dez Fitzpatrick stinks. Okay, great.
We knew that a long time ago.
Great. Then get him out of the game. If the second interception's Dez's fault, and the third interception's Dez's fault, and the fourth, why is Dez still in the game? Well, Dez, who else you going to put out? Go to 2 receiver sets. Do something. My goodness gracious. We'll get to your phones next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. TD's called in? Apparently so. Okay. So we'll take TD's call and we'll take your calls. 615-737-1025 is our phone number here on Stillman and Company. Let me tell all the fine folks out there about the FanDuel Sportsbook app, because everybody likes FanDuel Sportsbook, and that's why it's America's number one official sportsbook app is the FanDuel Sportsbook app. And it's my official sportsbook app. Enjoy a football feast this Thanksgiving Day by winning $150 on a $5 bet when you join FanDuel Sportsbook. New customers, this is your chance to gobble up 30-1 odds. Just place your first bet on any NFL team to win on Thanksgiving Day. Bears and Lions, Raiders, Cowboys, Bills and Saints. And I got to be honest with you, I'm not sure I feel comfortable at all telling you which games to pick, because the NFL this year has been all over the place. So pick whichever ones you want, but I mean, like, I tell you the Bills, but my goodness gracious. Anywho, FanDuel is America's #1 rated sportsbook app. It's easy to use and it's safe and secure. And when you win, you'll get paid in as little as 2 hours. Sign up with the promo code JGM to get in on all the action. Celebrate Thanksgiving by winning $150 on a $5 bet. Remember to use promo code JGM when you sign up exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. 21 and older in present Tennessee. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in a designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in-site credit within 72 hours. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Tonight. Back to Johansson, and Johansson tips it in with one hand on the stick.
Ryan Johansson and the Nashville Predators return to home ice for a Western Conference showdown with the Anaheim Ducks. Pre-game at 6, face-off at 7 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This holiday season, head into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest gifts from TaylorMade and Bushnell, featuring the P790 irons with speed foam air technology and tungsten weighting to give you more distance. And don't miss these hot gifts from Bushnell, like the Tour V5 and the Tour V5 Shift with pin seeker technology, or the Wingman with Bluetooth and audible GPS for distance. Edwin Watts Golf Shops is home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online for the holidays at worldwidegolfshops.com.
Ryan Porth back again to tell you about Dr. Kelly Rice Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine. Earlier this year, Dr. Rice, I was disappointed to have a cavity filling even after brushing my teeth all the time and having regular checkups.
Ryan, cavities are like any other health condition. You don't really know you have one until it gets bad. Recently, I saw a patient for treatment that they had been putting off. Something that could have been simple to fix 6 months ago turned out to need a root canal and a crown. Postponing treatment costs more and takes time away from work.
Well, I can attest to the fact that if I had not been doing regular checkups, I may have had to get a root canal by now. But thanks to your great staff that has been taking care of me for almost 15 years, my teeth are as good as they've ever been.
Well, we do things differently. I want to let people know that if they're afraid of pain or worried about the cost, they are not alone. Don't be embarrassed. We understand. Give us a call at 615-373-4488. That's KellyERice.com.
Dr. Kelly Rice, Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine, 615-373-4488.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit over 10 years old? Now is the time to replace, and waiting can cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Central AC unit pricing continues to rise and will rise up another 20% next year. Get ahead of the increase now with up to 60 months no interest financing. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling offers a 10-year part and labor warranty on all new installs. Visit springhillac.com or call them at 615-778-8855.
Yo, this is Justin from Music City Vintage, here to provide you with all your vintage apparel and shoe needs. We've partnered with 102.5 The Game to provide you all with an exclusive discount today. Come to our shop today, located in East Nashville at 2503 Gallatin Avenue, and say The Game at checkout and get 10% off your entire order. If you're unable to make it in, we got something for you as well. All of our products in store are also available on our website at musiccityvtg.com. Just use promo code GAME at checkout and get 10% off your order.
This Tuesday,
The Blue Raiders, 6 for 6 from the field to start this one.
the MTSU Blue Raiders are in Mexico for the Cancun Challenge, where they will first square off with the Rider Broncos. Coverage begins at 10:30 a.m.
on ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Penny Hardaway, University of Memphis coach. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
How about Dez? On the goal line one, seemed like maybe he wasn't where he should be. We saw Ryan talking to him after the third interception.
Again, we're going to go through this, and it's going to take all 11. It's going to take everybody being where they're supposed to be. To throw the football, we start with protection, making sure that the pocket's firm, running the guys behind. We have to do better, making sure that we're strong down the field, that we're not getting pushed places that we shouldn't be, the distribution, the route timing, recognizing zone coverage, sitting down. So, those are all things that are going to be important here, and even more so this week.
I will give the Titans credit. Nobody's going to call anybody out. They're not going to say, Dez screwed that one up, Dez stinks. You're not going to hear it. You're not going to hear that from Tannehill. You're not going to hear that from Vrabel. You're not going to hear it from Downing. You're not going to hear it from any other player on the team. And I will give them credit on that, which makes it incredibly frustrating to fairly assess blame on certain elements of the Titans. Now, TD has called in. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and by Focus Sparkling Water with a Spark. So TD has called in. TD has texted me, and I don't want to say in defense of Tannehill. That's probably not the right way to say it, but more so backing up Chris's points that you can't just point the finger at Tannehill for all the interceptions yesterday. So, TD, you go ahead with your thoughts kind of on the blame game of the interceptions and how much is really fair to put on Tannehill.
Yeah, I wanted to call in just, out of respect for the Titans fans because, this whole thing about just harping on Tannehill stinks is wrong, and you're doing it incorrectly. And I'm just going to point out one of the interceptions. Chris has another one that he wanted to explain, but I'm going to explain the one at the goal line, right? And on this particular play, this was the second interception, Desmond King's first interception. Des Fitzpatrick was the backside X receiver. You had trips on the right-hand side. Fitzpatrick ran a post corner, right? Chester Rogers was, I believe it was number 2 or number 3 on the opposite side, running a deep crossing route, okay? Now, Rodgers beat his man. His man was behind him in the trail position. Des Fitzpatrick, one of the things that Mike Vrabel said about Fitzpatrick that he wanted to get better back in camp was what? More of a sense of urgency. Fitzpatrick ran the post corner. Number one, he didn't sell the post, and then he didn't come out of the corner to that upper pylon like he was supposed to. He came out flat. Ryan Tannehill drops back. And one thing I want you to understand, Jared, quarterbacks don't throw to men, they throw to spots, okay? Tannehill dropped back, and he had that understanding that just past that left hash was where Chester Rogers was going to be open. Everything worked out except for Fitzpatrick didn't run his route aggressively enough with enough urgency to clear it out. So Des King was able to come off of the route and intercept the pass. He made a play on the ball after the ball was thrown, but the ball was thrown to a spot. That is not on Ryan Tannehill.
Okay, what happened on the first interception?
I want you – what is that?
What happened on the first interception?
The first interception was just a bad play. It was a terrible read by Tannehill where he locked in on A.J. Brown, and he should have never done it, and he failed to see the linebacker, and it was a bad play. That was on Tannehill. But to sit here and blame everyone, and Chris had explained the other one, you have to understand what happens on the football field and the importance of spacing and roles that each route has.
I totally hear you.
You don't understand, so you're on here saying arrogantly.
I totally understand what you're saying. I totally understand what you're saying. That, and it goes back to what Vrabel said.
These fans.
But it's like it's like what Vrabel said in the clip that we just played about how 11 guys have to do the right thing, and in order for, and that's every coach can say that every time, but it is true. Like it is in theory true that all the guys have. If a right tackle doesn't block and the quarterback gets blown up, then it doesn't matter what happened this way or the other. My theory is the quarterback is the guy who is leading this team right now. Tannehill makes $30 million. When Aaron Rodgers lost Devontae Adams and Alan Lazard and still went to Arizona and won a game, I don't know how much trust Aaron has in those guys or how good those other guys are or things of that magnitude. But the quarterback is the one guy who's supposed to get everybody together. The quarterback is the one who is supposed to decide, okay, I can trust you to do this. I can put the ball there. And if Tannehill can't trust Des Fitzpatrick to do the right thing, then Tannehill can't be able to throw.
Guess what he was doing? Throwing the football to a spot. He was trusting that Des Fitzpatrick was going to run an aggressive route with urgency and clear it out, and Chester Rogers was going to beat his man. Chester Rogers beat his man. Unfortunately, Fitzpatrick, who was still working through, adjusting to being an NFL player, didn't do his job on that play and cleared it out. That's trust. He trusted Fitzpatrick to clear it out. And
but when I say he's got to trust his guy, he's got to correctly trust his guys. Like, again, I don't know who Aaron's backup receivers are in Green Bay. I don't know. But he went to Arizona and beat them with a bunch of backup receivers. And if this had been the other way around, like if Tannehill had beaten a good team and had thrown 4 touchdowns and no picks, and he had done it with all backup receivers, we would be praising how great Tannehill is. But that is the league, TD, and you know that. That's the league.
No. The league is each guy, when it's his opportunity to make a play or his opportunity to be a clear out, to contribute to making a play, make the play. That one, I don't care. You could try to shift it all you want. I gave you a thorough explanation. That one was not on Ryan Tannehill. Absolutely not on Ryan Tannehill. That was Des Fitzpatrick. But at the same time, Des Fitzpatrick, guess what he did on the touchdown? He ran a very nice route, right? He inside released a little bit, sold the corner with his eyes, right, and stuck his foot in the ground, exploded to the post. It gave Tannehill space. Tannehill threw him the football, and it's a touchdown. You see what happens when you run the right route? You see what I'm saying? And that's not what happened on that play. So for you to get on here and say, every interception is no, every interception was not his fault.
TD.
It wasn't.
I hear you. I understand what you're saying.
These fans.
I'm just going to tell you, I'm not backing down on the Tannehill criticism. He hasn't been good enough. And yesterday he wasn't good enough.
I'm not telling you don't criticize him. Heck, I criticized him for making a terrible boneheaded throw on the interception in the red zone. That would have been at the very least tying the game at 3-3. I criticize. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is don't miseducate these fans and have them thinking that everything is on Tannehill when it's not. He deserves criticism. You're right. He's getting $30+ million a year. He deserves criticism, but he doesn't need to get criticism. And it's not even. I'm not on here defending Tannehill. What I'm on here to do is make sure that you don't, like I said, miseducate the fans. Don't have them thinking one thing happened when it was totally different. And just because, you talk loud and you talk fast, that doesn't mean you know what happened on the play. I'm telling you what happened on the play. That wasn't Tannehill's fault.
Okay. So I want to take what you said, and I want to get reaction on that. TD, I appreciate you calling in, by the way, and I still love you.
Rashad, you know what? That's how I was going to end it. I still love you.
I still love you, TD. So I want to get reaction to TD. TD brings up a fair point. I have not, and this was the one thing about the kind of like the fun thing about the Jared and the GM program was they never really had to worry about that kind of stuff, right? Like, because, he'd sit there and say, well, the guy's supposed to cut in this, guy's supposed to, okay, Floyd said so must be true. Look, I think Des Fitzpatrick stinks. And I think Des Fitzpatrick doesn't deserve to be here. And I understand there are injuries, and I understand, sometimes excuses are valid in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And as much as you want it to not be the case, it is the case. And I go back to the Titans Super Bowl, where Marcus Robertson breaks his ankle, and Blaine Bishop gets concussed in the Super Bowl. And now Perry Phoenix and Tony Dorsett are out there. Anthony Dorsett, Tony Dorsett's kid. Anthony Dorsett and Perry Phoenix are out there. Kurt Warner throws a ball over the top for a touchdown. You lose. But I do wonder this, and I thought about this yesterday. How different is everybody's life in that stadium if Blaine Bishop and Marcus Robertson play? And that Kurt Warner doesn't throw for a Super Bowl record of yards. Mm-hmm. How different is it? But nobody cares. Like when they let Floyd go from the organization, nobody said, Floyd, we'd be keeping you around here if Marcus Robertson was out there, but instead Perry Phoenix was out there. This is the NFL. And with Des Fitzpatrick, nobody's going to care if they waive him tomorrow. And they might.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you think that he's on their active roster for next week?
Probably not. But, as far as this league's concerned, what your reputation is, if we're looking at the Titans and we're saying this team is a Super Bowl contender because Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry are good enough to take you there, and now something happens to Derrick, we have one of two choices, in my opinion. We can either just say, well, pack it in, boys. Nothing you can do with all these injuries. Or you can look at the one guy who is an NFL player. And you can say, hey, more responsibility on your plate. And that's how I feel about Tannehill. If Des Fitzpatrick can't run the right route, then Ryan Tannehill has to go to the sidelines and tell Rob Moore and tell Todd Downing, get this guy out of the game. Get him out. I'm sure they had other receivers, although I can't think of who they would have had.
That's what I was going to say, is I hear you and I understand that, but who is it?
Who was active? They had Rodgers. They had Westbrook-Akina.
Who had a decent game yesterday.
They had Fitzpatrick,
career high
obviously.
Receiving yards.
Do they not have anybody else anymore?
They don't have Josh Reynolds anymore. Josh Reynolds is looking pretty attractive right now. with
Josh
Marcus
Reynolds still
Johnson
sucks,
and,
but
and
he never
AJ
looks a lot
Brown. But
better
I
than
mean,
Fitzpatrick.
yeah.
That's the other thing, by the way. When player asks for his release, maybe sometimes don't do it. Maybe sometimes say, no, you stay.
It felt like a good decision at the time. He hadn't really produced much for the Titans. He didn't really do much, and it wasn't a ton of money, but it was like, hey, it's money that you get back. He wants to be out. We'll take him out.
So I keep going back to this, which is I don't ever feel this way about the great quarterbacks. Rodgers went to Arizona, and he didn't have his guys, and he still found a way to win. And my guess is those great quarterbacks figure out how to get those guys to do the right thing.
But nobody is labeling Ryan Tannehill as the caliber of quarterback that Aaron Rodgers is.
And nobody's
asking
Texans,
him to be.
And nobody thinks the Texans are any good. That Texan team is terrible. You hear the guy who's intercepting the ball. Desmond King. We all know Desmond King. Desmond King sucks. He came in here last year. They traded for him because they had no corners. He came in here, and he can't run with anybody. And Desmond King lit it up last night. I mean, that's where they are. But again, I think TD has a fair point. Is it not fair to say that Fitzpatrick screwed up yesterday and that we should take blame off of Tannehill's plate? And TD's not saying Tannehill's blameless.
No, he said
he is not saying that.
He's criticizing him himself.
But I mean, I keep looking at this like, to me, yesterday was a statement game for Tannehill. That's all I'm saying. It was a statement game as to this is what this guy is. So we'll get your reaction on it. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Join us from 11 to 1 in the beautiful Bode Hotel courtyard to watch the Titans take on the Patriots this Sunday. Game starts at noon, and we'll be on site giving away tickets to shows like the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Dierks Bentley, sidebar gift cards, plus a 2-night, 2-bedroom stay at the Bode Nashville. Must be present to win. Drink specials all game long at the sidebar. The Bode Nashville's new in-house cocktail bar serving cocktails, beers, wines, and bar bites. Be sure to join us at the Bode Hotel, 401 2nd Avenue South in downtown Nashville.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Chilly afternoon for us. High temperatures are only going to climb to the middle and upper 40s. Under mostly sunny skies, we do get a little bit warmer midweek.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Lowe's Provember event ends November 24th. Get top values on pro brands like DeWalt and Spyder. Lowe's, the new home for pros. U.S. only.
What's up, everybody? This is Teron Davenport, and I am here to tell you about Freedom Tire Guys. They're Nashville's premier mobile tire service. New tires, rotating, balancing, flat repair, torquing, they do it all. I can tell you this from personal experience. Just a couple weeks ago, I was at the Titans facility. They came there and changed my tires, all 4 of them. They did an excellent job. My car is riding extra smooth now. If you're in need of tire service, be sure to check them out at freedomtireguys.com. If you don't see the tires you want, they'll go ahead and get it for you.
This weekend, when you buy any piece of jewelry at Genesis, you'll get one of the year's coolest holiday gifts absolutely free. And the more you spend, the bigger the free gift. You heard us right. Yeti coolers, Ring security cameras, air fryers, even Apple iPad Air tablets, absolutely free with purchase. Spend just $299 or more on a piece of jewelry, and Genesis gives you an amazing Echo Show device free. Spend $499 and you'll get the Fujifilm Mini Polaroid camera. Or how about an espresso coffee maker? Free when you spend $999 at Genesis this weekend, so you can get her that beautiful ring or pair of earrings for Christmas and get one of the year's hottest gifts at no additional charge. Treat yourself or your family. How about a Roomba i3 vacuum robot or an old school cool arcade game when you spend at least $1,999 this weekend? Or listen to this. Spend $3,999 on a piece of jewelry and get a 55-inch 4K Samsung Smart TV. Yours free. This Friday through Cyber Monday. It's Genesis Diamonds' best Black Friday event ever. Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
The 1025 The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Be a part of the conversation. Call or text the game at 615-737-1025.
Mark Howard here to tell you about my friends at Apple Collision Centers. We all know being in a collision is not fun. Neither is all the stress that comes with it, and that's where Apple Collision comes in. Let them take care of everything for you. That's insurance, repair, and your rental details. They've got 3 convenient locations in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Their managers, Tommy Rippey, Daniel Neville, and Chris Brooks and Marty Denson, combined for over 75 years experience. So stop in today and tell them Mark sent you. Online at applecollisioncenters.com.
Darren McFarland.
He's cool. He's got a personality, and they make fun of him.
Willie Donick.
Would this be a fun guy to come to work and hang around with all day?
Chase McCabe.
They're just like, hey, we need you to play yourself.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Don't miss the pregame show live from Corner Pub in Bellevue this Sunday. The pregame show featuring Mark Howard, Chris Sanders, and yours truly. Join us from 9:30 to 11:30 at the Corner Pub in Bellevue. Prior to the Titans taking on the Patriots, the pregame show brought to you by TriStar Moving, Parman Tractor and Equipment, FreedomTireGuys.com, FanDuel, E2 Roofing, Hillside Medical, Social Furniture, and Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. We're live from Bridgestone Arena, Preds tonight against the Ducks. Brought to you by Hermitage Design Center, the professional source for lighting, hardware, appliance, custom kitchens, and baths on the web at GoHermitage.com. To the phones we go. As promised, Chris has been waiting patiently and is up next. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
Hey, I'm not going to comment much on the game. It was horrible. Something that, as a Titans fan from the very beginning, that we're all too familiar with, seeing games like this happen over the years. But on a lighter note, I just want to commend you, Jared, and whoever else was involved in putting together that tribute show for Floyd Friday evening. Caroline, if you was involved.
Caroline was a big part of it.
You guys did a wonderful job. It was professional. And as a Titans fan from the beginning, I just really enjoyed it, and I just think you did the GM proud.
Thank you so much, Chris. I do appreciate that. I appreciate everybody that listened. And I'll say this. I got to give, first of all, Caroline and Ryan Porth both worked a lot on getting that show off the ground. And I also want to thank the Titans because they did help us, connecting us with Jerry Glanville and having John Robinson on the program. And so I do want to thank the Titans for that. I will say this. The reception to the program Friday night was absolutely outstanding. It felt to me like there were a lot of people that were looking forward to that program. Like, I got to listen on, 5 o'clock on Friday. And I certainly felt that way from a lot of people. And I appreciate people saying that we did a good job on it. I thought we could have done a better job, honestly.
You're always going to think we could do a better job.
That is true. But I really did appreciate Caroline worked really, really hard on it. Ryan worked really, really hard on it.
Happy to be part of it.
The people that were on it wanted to be a part of it. Mike Munchak went, called me in the middle of like a break during the middle of the day, for us to be able to have him on the program. Jerry Glanville, even though maybe Jerry talked a little bit too much about Jerry on the program. Jerry
He's
Glanville.
a hoot and a half.
He's wild. Mike Malarkey, coming on. Like, look, the memories from Mike Malarkey in the city of Nashville aren't the greatest in the world, but Mike Malarkey likes Floyd a lot. So Mike Malarkey came on, John Robinson, you name it. And podcast available if you want to listen to it. I've probably listened to the podcast like 6 times already. Thomas is up next on Tannehill. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah. Hey, Jared. Listen, I don't want to make it personal, but you keep me up at night these days about Tannehill. Like, we have mutual friends, and they all seem to like you a lot. So I like you, like, personally. But, dear Lord, I can't – you talk about him like he's like Jadeveon. Like, all right, so, like, Van Pelt asks all the time about it's normally about college coaches. Like, if he's not – do you think he's the guy? Do you think Tannehill is? Like, if you had to say one way or the other.
Define the guy.
I was hoping you wouldn't say that. Do you think? Okay, put it this way: just say Derrick Henry's in the game, but for whatever reason, whatever team has neutralized him, do you think Tannehill say that game is the Super Bowl? Do you think Tannehill could win us a game of that magnitude with the team mostly on his shoulders?
No.
Okay, how many quarterbacks in the league do you think could though?
Well, I mean, that's like a question putting me on the spot where I'd have to go through every guy and say, like, I can tell you right now, Daniel Jones can't, and I can tell you Aaron Rodgers can. Now, can I go through each one and say, okay, can Joe Burrow? I mean, like, there's, like, to me, I'd have to, like, think about every quarterback in the league. But the thing is, Thomas, is when you get to that stage, the guys you're playing normally have guys that can do that. And so that's kind of the bigger thing here. I've said this all along. If Derrick Henry does not come back, you are not going to win the Super Bowl. And if Derrick Henry does come back, I think you've got a shot to win the Super Bowl. Like that, because I don't think Tannehill can do what you're saying can Tannehill do. I never thought he could do that. But there's a difference between carrying the team in the Super Bowl and 4 interceptions against the Texans. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely, but like one, I think interceptions should have some kind of designation, like earned run average, like at least half of the
like an unearned interception and an earned interception.
Exactly, that should bear some weight, and I'm sure there's some stat head that's got that, but I haven't seen it because he's judged too much on all quarterbacks are judged on just old-fashioned box scores, which I think is silly. I mean, he's playing with the receivers are part-time employees on this team. I don't understand.
So Thomas, here's where, and I appreciate your call. Here's where I'm going to differentiate this. Ryan Tannehill made his bones with this franchise as the man throwing playoff touchdowns to Anthony Ferkser, Khalif Raymond, and Jonnu Smith. It's not like he got $30 million from the Titans because he threw for 400 yards in one game where he had Jerry Rice on one side and he had Lynn Swann on the other side. And he said, all right, boys, 53 hike. And then when Lynn Swann got hurt, they brought in Randy Moss. That's not what happened. He threw for less than 100 yards in a playoff game. And we loved it. We loved it. And we said, okay, that's what this is going to be. But now you're saying, well, the receivers aren't good enough. Well, the receivers weren't good enough then. How many people could have won in the NFL with Khalif Raymond at wide receiver? Probably not a lot. So we knew right then and there, okay, this is what it has to be in order for Tannehill to perform better. Now Tannehill's backed into a corner. So you have two choices. You either say, well, he ain't that good, or you say, you got to go do more. But this is the Texans. That's why I said if this had happened against the Rams after they had lost Derrick Henry and they had not had the wide receivers in there and they had lost to the Rams and this had been why, we'd have said, well, hey, they just don't have the players in there to be able to do this.
It's the Rams. They're a great team.
What it is. Grant is up next on Tannehill. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Grant.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I appreciate this. I enjoy you guys' show. Tannehill, I've always believed that he has what it takes with the right pieces. The reality is, if he throws 2 interceptions instead of that third one, we probably win that game.
Yep.
He could have gotten away with 2 interceptions, but not 3 and not 4. And as far as Fitzpatrick goes, a lot of people are dogging him, and that's fine. But Robinson has a lot to do with that. He traded 3 picks for Fitzpatrick, and he ended up not getting anybody. So
that's Fitzpatrick, and I have heard, Grant, and
4 picks.
I appreciate your call. I have heard, first of all, when a general manager busts on a 4th-round pick, it's not the end of the world for me. And you can say he traded 3 picks, but it wasn't like, the 3 picks the Rams sent the Lions to get rid of Jared Goff. Those were not premium picks. I get it. I love my picks. You know me. But, we have to get over the fact that they drafted a receiver in the 4th round. He sucked. That's happened before. Like Floyd drafted Roydell Williams, I think, in the 3rd round. And ultimately, you have to get over the fact that guy's not any good. Now, I will say this. The lack of depth at wide receiver is a big issue. And it has been a big issue. These are practice squad guys. Marcus Johnson was on your practice squad last year. Chester Rogers was on your practice squad. Nick Westbrook-Akina was on your practice squad. Josh Reynolds, you released him because you didn't have a role for him, and now, to your point, you probably do have a role for Josh Reynolds. So all those things have to be factored in there. What was the first point he made? This is why I hate when people make multiple points, because when you make the first point, it's always
usually
the
best one.
It's always the best point. Anywho, I can't remember what it was. 615-737-1025. It's Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and by Focus Sparkling Water with a Spark. If you're watching the stream right now, You see I got my Focus right here. That's right. You need to pick me up during your day. Do not get the fake energy and the fake caffeine and the sugar and the crash and the artificial stuff. No. Your body needs water, and it does not need to be boring. That's why you've got Focus. You can find it at Publix. Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S, drinkfocus.com. Focus is sparkling water with a spark. It's got natural tea caffeine, so you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. You can use the promo code GAME, G-A-M-E, at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S, on the web at drinkfocus.com.
The voice of reason.
274 yards, 2 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. You're not going to win a game that way.
The voice of the fan.
I'm tired of let's just give it to a quarterback.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, Nashville, looking to spruce up your home for the holidays? Social Furniture on the West Side has you covered. They're packed with items you can either take home with you or have them delivered to you the same day. You've heard of inventory shortages. Well, not at Social Furniture. At Social Furniture, you can get your new furniture today. Yes, the same day. For instance, take this designer leather sectional. For not $3,000, it's only $1,299 with today's delivery. At Social Furniture, the savings are huge out there. They're located on the west side, 5412 Charlotte Avenue near White Bridge Road. Maybe you need some chairs for your table, or you have guests for the holidays and need furniture fast. Well, you can find it all at Social Furniture. They have thousands of combinations to choose from, and they'll deliver today. And guess what? The best thing is you don't have to pay today. You can take 12 months to pay with no interest. So load up the family and come to Social Furniture today on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Fall is here, and that means the cold winds of winter are coming. It's a great time to replace those old, drafty windows. Pella is the leader in the industry for top-quality window and door products. But Pella Windows and Doors are also affordable, extremely affordable. Pella has payment plans less than $95 a month to replace your windows. So, I suggest you purchase your windows and doors from the experts at Pella of Nashville. Go to PellaofNashville.com.
Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee ensures children and teens, especially those who need us most, are ready to read, ready for class, ready to graduate, ready for their career, and ready to serve the community. You can support local youth and their great futures by donating at bgcmt.org.
Signs First is the official sign company for 102.5 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Hose and Belting Specialties in Murfreesboro is your local source for hydraulic, air, water, and chemical hoses, along with conveyor, timing, and metric belt needs. They stock metric fittings for both air and hydraulic applications. Hose and Belting Specialties stocks Parker hydraulic hoses and fittings, Goodyear Conti-Tech industrial hoses, and V-belts, just to name a few of their lines. For any of your industrial needs, call 615-895-HOSE, 615-895-HOSE.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman. On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Focus Energy Drink, Focus Sparkling Water with a Spark Drink, Focus, PHOCUS.com. It is a Titans Monday, 102.5 The Game's Preds Game Day broadcast, brought to you by Hermitage Design Center, the professional source for lighting, hardware, appliance, custom kitchens, and baths on the web at GoHermitage.com. Great weekend. Great Floyd Tribute Friday. Mm-hmm. I was at a wedding that apparently Shaq was at randomly. I was in the wedding. Shaq was just there. I turned around and I saw Shaq, and I'm like, that's Shaq.
I mean, I could start struck just hearing about it.
Oh, my God, Shaq?
I would lose all inhibitions if I saw Shaq.
I mean, we're standing up there like the bride and groom are walking down the aisle. Congrats to Rachel and Mike, by the way.
Congrats to Rachel and Mike.
The bride and groom are walking down, and like Shaq sneaks in the very back, and Shaq is hanging out there. And I turn over to one of my buddies who's a groomsman behind me, and I turn over and I go, did you see Shaq? And he's like, oh my God, it's Shaq.
That's like one person, you see them and you know exactly who it is.
Dude, I felt bad for Shaq because every single person after the wedding was talking about Shaq. And it's like Shaq doesn't want, to be, it's your
But
day.
he's Shaq.
But Shaq was there. So Shaq was in Nashville over the weekend at this wedding that I was in. And
did you talk to him?
No, I did not.
Oh.
I had to take the pictures after the wedding and have time. The big Aristotle, he snuck out the side, and then we thought he was going to be at the reception, and then Shaq wasn't at the reception.
Oh, and Shaq probably would have boogied down on the dance floor at the reception.
Well, so like we had like there was a break between the reception and the ceremony, and we were all together. Not all the main players at this wedding that were in it were all together, and I was thinking maybe Shaq was going to come by and be like, hey, I'm not going to go to the ceremony, but it was good to see you guys, whatever.
Kind of a good
But
Shaq impression there.
We didn't see Shaq.
Bummer.
Back to the Titans. So, and then a terrible game on Sunday.
Terrible. It's just gross.
I'm going to say this. Great induction at halftime, which I absolutely loved and did, shed a couple tears. But is Vrabel getting enough blame? We've sat up here for 2 hours and blamed Tannehill. And I think fairly blame Tannehill. But what about Vrabel? And I got a handful of things about Vrabel that are bothering me.
Okay.
The first is those boys weren't ready to play Sunday. And there is something about him where he can get them up. They could play the All-Stars. And I'd feel better about that than playing the worst team in the NFL. Just because he cannot. This is not a one-time thing with Vrabel. He cannot get them up to play the bad boys. And I don't know why. So that's the first thing that bothers me. The second thing that bothers me, the delay of game before halftime. I think this is equally like Vrabel and Tannehill are co-defendants here. Like you screwed up by taking an intentional grounding or at least getting it close enough that it could have been an intentional grounding and essentially gave away 3 points. And what were you thinking, coach? By running them back out there with 9 seconds and no timeouts. 9 seconds, no timeouts, no wide receivers. What were we thinking here? I don't know. What was the plan here? Then on the touchdown that they scored, and I was, obviously, I want to say like I was preoccupied during the Titan game, but I'm watching the Titan game, and we're up there in the, with the Reese family, and we're really just having a good time.
Good.
And we're watching the game, and so I'm not watching the game like I normally watch it, like when I'm sitting at home and I can think of it. But I'm sitting there, they score a touchdown to get themselves back in the game, where the Texans aren't very good, and it's only 12-0, and at 12-0, hey, you can get back in this game with one play. Now it's 19-0, and it's like, okay, you need 2 touchdowns in the next 3 drives. And they get the first touchdown to make it 19-6. But I'm thinking to myself, don't you go for 2 here?
That's what I thought.
Don't you? Because it's 16 plus 3.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a 3-possession game.
Yes.
But you'll need 3 touchdowns technically. But even if you get the 3rd touchdown, if you go for 2 and you don't get it, then you still need the 3rd touchdown, which would cover for the fact that you didn't get the 2-point conversion. And Vrabel didn't go for 2. And I don't know why Vrabel didn't go for 2. You got to go for 2. Then you got to hope your defense can get you the ball back. Then you got to go for 2 again. In Super Bowl 34, the Titans were down 16-0. They scored a touchdown. They went for 2. They didn't get it. That was the right decision to go for 2, even though they didn't get it. So Vrabel doesn't go for 2. Now we got all these Des Fitzpatrick issues where, TD's calling in saying Fitzpatrick didn't do this right, and Chris is saying Fitzpatrick didn't do that right. And it's like, how is Mike Vrabel putting a guy out there that doesn't know what to do? The guy's been here the whole time. He doesn't know what to do, and now they're putting him in a game. Isn't that on the coach?
But I go back to, what else are you working with?
No. I'm not asking Des Fitzpatrick to be a great player. I'm not asking to make a one-handed catch. I'm asking you to run the right route. And if you can't run the right route in the NFL,
I mean,
you can't
that's
play.
the most elementary thing that you could
cannot
possibly
play.
ask Dusty Patrick to do.
There are wide receivers on other teams' practice squads that you can bring in today that can run the right route. They may not be able to catch it. They may not run it fast enough. But they can at least run the right route. If you say, hey, run this route, run it 12 yards, there's a guy out there that can do it. So if Des Fitzpatrick is this much out of touch, what is the coaching staff doing putting him in the game? And that's a decision that's got to be made when you know, okay, Julio's going to be out. Josh Reynolds isn't here anymore. I don't know who the other receivers that were out were or whatever, but you got to say.
Marcus Johnson.
This is before they got hurt, like going into the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to say, look, we can't carry this guy in the active roster. We got to carry somebody else. So, I mean, again, Tannehill's been getting crushed today. I'm not the only person doing it. I'm probably doing it the hardest because my expectations are really high. And the standards that you all talk about when you call this show, I don't ever hear anybody talking about goals of getting to the divisional round of the playoffs. I have never heard that this season from a caller. I remember in 2017 when everybody just wanted to make the playoffs, what that was like. Because the Titans hadn't made the playoffs since 2008. And everybody just wanted to make the playoffs. And that was all we talked about was making the playoffs. And I don't hear calls that say, hey, Jared, if the Titans can just go out there and win the division, and if they can go win the division and then maybe get one home playoff game, what do you think? Nobody says that because the expectations are higher. Well, if the expectations are higher, then that means that the quarterback has to play better. And so we've crushed Tannehill. But not a lot of Vrabel crushing today. Joe Rexro wrote a column in The Athletic where I have to commend Joe because I do feel like Joe kind of ripped Vrabel's rear end, and I thought it was kind of fair. Are we not giving enough blame to Vrabel?
I mean, I think there were definitely some questionable decisions. I mean, the intentional grounding was just so dumb. And at the end of the game, the 3 points wouldn't have made a difference, but you don't know what it does to momentum. You don't know if it could have made a difference in the long run.
Does it make a difference if you're down 16, you score the touchdown, and then you're deciding whether or not to go for two?
That's the thing, is you put yourself in a completely different position.
I mean,
I
said on Friday that in order for the Texans to win, you had to turn it over twice and have a third play that was like a turnover. It's pretty much like a turnover. You're about to kick a field goal,
and
instead you get – I just don't see – here's where I get on Vrabel.
You leave, 9 seconds on the board?
Here's where I get on Vrabel for that. What did you think was going to happen? Like, what good could happen? 9 seconds, no timeouts. What did you think was going to happen? I mean, did you think that you were going to – the ball was sitting at the Houston 24. 1st and 5 from the 24 with no timeouts. Did you think with this offensive line and the way they've been pass blocking that Ryan Tannehill was going to have enough time for backup wide receivers to run 24 yards down the field, throw the ball into the end zone, have one of those backup wide receivers catch the ball for a touchdown or get interfered with, in which the refs almost never throw the flag, and if the ball was incomplete, there'd be time left on the clock for you to kick a field goal? Did Vrabel think that? You're at the 24-yard line. You're looking at a 42-yard kick. I get it. Randy doesn't have the strongest leg in the world. There were a lot of conditions, but it's a 42-yard kick.
At least try it. If he misses it.
Like, what did Vrabel think was going to happen with 9 seconds? If you wanted to go out there with 9 seconds and a timeout left, and you wanted to throw that ball, I still think it's kind of dumb, because if a ball gets batted up into the air as you're throwing it into the end zone, the likelihood that you throw the ball as an interception is infinitely higher than you scoring a touchdown. The odds of you getting sacked are higher than the odds of you throwing a touchdown. Like, what was Vrabel thinking? And I'm with you. I think that's a big part of the game. It is 12-0. You make it 12-3.
That's a different ball game.
12-3.
That's a 2-possession game.
All you got to do is tell the defense. You're playing the Texans. All you have to do is tell your defense, go out there, get a stop, get the offense the ball, let's go. So I'm not blaming Vrabel for the Chester Rogers complete and utter screw-up on the punt, which was just awful.
A
and I'm not
mistake.
blaming Vrabel for Tannehill's interceptions, which everybody else seems to want to not blame Tannehill. But, I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I think Vrabel is getting a free pass today, and I don't think Vrabel should.
And the not going for two was a questionable decision.
And we haven't even harped on the biggest thing. which, again, we haven't, dug deep, which is, why can't these boys get up for a game like this? They were not mentally ready for that game. And I was in the stadium, and I felt it. Like right after, I think the first drive, when Houston moved the ball effectively, I thought, oh, God. I want to say it was, let's see, what was Houston's first? Yep, Houston's first drive, 14 plays, 62 yards. Like when all of a sudden it's like, okay, here's a third down. Like, okay, Texans get there first, 3rd and 3 at the Houston 20. They convert. Okay, fine, whatever. Then they got, now they're completing passes. They're moving the ball down the field. They're now got a 2nd and 12 at the Tennessee 40. Okay, here you go. 2nd and 12 at the Tennessee 40. That's when you make a stop, right? Tyrod Taylor to Brown for 8 yards. No, excuse me. Tyrod Taylor to Conley for 12 yards first down. And that's where it's like, oh, God. Oh, God, these guys didn't show up to play, and they're injured, and now Houston's got a little bit of momentum, and then Tannehill throws the boneheaded interception. And those boys weren't ready to play, and it's on the coach. We took so many calls last week about, give Vrabel credit. They keep finding a way. They keep finding it. And here we are in a game of this magnitude, and, again, they're not ready to play.
And they could not shut down Tyrod Taylor. I mean, you got to just keep him in the pocket or else he's going to move. You put pressure on him, he's going to move. And the fact that the Titans were able to shut down one of the more mobile quarterbacks in the league in Patrick Mahomes, and you can't shut down Tyrod Taylor, you let him run all over you?
Patrick Mahomes is probably shutting down Patrick Mahomes at that point. There may be some credence to the idea that Kansas City might be a little back, but I hear what you say, because when you say things like you can't shut down Tyrod Taylor, that is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tyrod Taylor is a backup quarterback. And that's what the Titans are dealing with. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We're to your phones. And this is the question. How much blame does Vrabel deserve for yesterday's loss? And is Vrabel getting enough? And is everybody, what do we think of it? 615-737-1025. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Hiller is giving away cash for the holidays. My guy, everybody likes cash for the holidays, right? Hiller is giving away cash for the holidays. We are celebrating from now until the end of the year with special deals. Hiller wants to make sure every child experiences the joy of Christmas this year, so they're donating $50 in toys for tots for every tankless water heater purchase. And they're giving away a $250 Visa gift card with each unit. Get a $500 Visa gift card when you buy select new HVAC systems, or get a $500 Visa gift card with the purchase of any new whole home generator. More specials are online at happyhiller.com. As always, Happy You'll Be Here. The service is free, and these deals are only available today. So schedule before the end of the, they're only available to the end of the year, so schedule today. Let me say this. There's going to be shortages on generators and things like that. So if you're thinking about getting a generator anyways, just do it and then get the Visa gift card, pay for all your holiday stuff, and at least you killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, Vanderbilt, and they take great care of my house. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
It's game day in Smashville. Brought to you by Hermitage Design Center.
Now for Gronlund, right in front to score. Matt Duchene scores again.
The Preds are back home to face off against the Ducks. Pre-game coverage begins at 6 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Lowe's Provember event ends November 24th, but there's still time to become a Pro Loyalty member and get a welcome kit via mail. Lowe's, the new home for pros. U.S. only.
Hey Nashville, we think you deserve the very best driving experience, and now is the time for our Season of Change CPO event at Mercedes-Benz of Music City. When you purchase a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, you're backed by the remaining new vehicle limited warranty. Once that expires, the certified pre-owned limited warranty goes into effect, providing an additional 12 months of coverage with unlimited miles. See all the perks and exceptional offers for your certified pre-owned vehicle from Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Hey, it's Jared for TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything will be taken care of, from covering your floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds, furniture, TVs, and more. They took great care of my move and made it as stress-free as possible. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit them at nashvillemoving.org/radio and get 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
This weekend, when you buy any piece of jewelry at Genesis, you'll get one of the year's coolest holiday gifts absolutely free. And the more you spend, the bigger the free gift. You heard us right. Yeti coolers, Ring security cameras, air fryers, even Apple iPad Air tablets, absolutely free with purchase. Spend just $299 or more on a piece of jewelry, and Genesis gives you an amazing Echo Show device free. Spend $499 and you'll get the Fujifilm Mini Polaroid camera. Or how about an espresso coffee maker? Free when you spend $999 at Genesis this weekend. So you can get her that beautiful ring or pair of earrings for Christmas and get one of the year's hottest gifts at no additional charge. Treat yourself or your family. How about a Roomba i3 vacuum robot or an old school cool arcade game when you spend at least $1,999 this weekend? Or listen to this. Spend $3,999 on a piece of jewelry and get a 55-inch 4K Samsung Smart TV. Yours free. This Friday through Cyber Monday. It's Genesis Diamonds' best Black Friday event ever. Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
More than 80% of hospitals and other healthcare employers are now looking to hire nurses holding a bachelor's degree. That's why Aspen University's 3-year accelerated and accredited BSN pre-licensure program is now enrolling with no wait list. Tuition and fees are less than $50,000 and transfer credits are accepted. Want to learn more? Just text STEP to 323232 right now. Most courses are online and you'll complete your clinicals within our collaborative network of healthcare providers. Plus, if you need more flexibility, we offer a nights and weekends program. Text STEP to 323232 right now. All clinical simulations and labs are delivered in person while following CDC guidelines for social distancing and masks. If you've thought about becoming a registered nurse, the time is now. Text STEP to 323232 to learn more today. Text the word STEP to 323232 right now. Text STEP to 323232.
Total cost of the degree program will vary depending on the courses taken, transfer credits awarded, and fees incurred. Employment statistics are from the AAC and Research Brief, published in December 2020. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Message and data rates may apply.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
Beat a lot of really good teams during the 6-game winning streak. I know you'd be complimentary of the Jets and the...
What's the question, dude?
The Jets and the Texans have not beaten a lot of good football teams. Why are they?
We got beat today. We turned the ball over 5 times. You know what I mean? It's like you guys don't, you guys all cover this league. You do. If you don't play well in this league, I don't care who it is, you turn the ball over in this league, you're going to lose. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody believes that. But when you do that, it doesn't matter what the record is. We had 5 turnovers. They had 0. Right? You're going to lose the game 99% of the time.
I mean, he's not wrong. But the question then has to be, why are you turning the ball over against the Texans? Like, why did you turn over 4 interceptions, and then you wonder why they weren't ready to play? Because it felt to me like they weren't ready to play. Now, we have not really gone into depth on this, which we will at some point today. And I'm not an excuse maker around here. Mm-hmm. The injuries are a factor. I mean, they are running out a bunch of, I don't want to say losers, but they are running out a bunch of guys that don't belong in the NFL.
I mean, Des Fitzpatrick would not have been in that game if it were not for injuries.
I mean, the best player on the team yesterday probably doesn't belong in the game. Like, that's where they were. And I'm talking about Hilliard. I mean, I thought Hilliard might have been the best player on the field for the Titans yesterday. And I'm not sure Hilliard is like an NFL player.
And Nick Westbrook-Akina had himself a solid day. But the fact that those are the 2 guys that we are pointing out as having good days, Nick Westbrook-Akina and Hilliard.
Yeah, that's not a...
And that's not a knock on them at all, because they produced. They produced when nobody else would.
Let's go to your phones. As promised, 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. John, kick us off. Thank you for calling, and you go ahead, John.
Absolutely, always. Thanks for taking my call. Long-time listener, I usually am right on board with you on, and I got to disagree with you today. Vrabel shouldn't have to get you up for the Texans, although, yes, it is the coach's job. We own the Texans the past 3 or 4 years. On another note, Vrabel didn't throw 4 picks, and I'm a huge Tannehill advocate. None of the 4 picks were like the receivers, like they were all bad throws, every single one of them. We were down bad before the weather came in. I was at the game before the weather came. We were already struggling, and I just think that I don't really know how much blame Vrabel should get. The defense played well. We had huge stops when we needed them. even at the beginning of the game when Tannehill threw that pick, it gets returned all the way down within the red zone. We hold them to 3. Hold them to 3 on the next possession if they get in the red zone. I thought the defense played well. I don't know how much I would put on Vrabel today, my man. I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you for your call, John. Okay, so this is an exercise I want to do for the next segment. I want the 3 of us. You're familiar with the concept of Final Jeopardy?
I am, yes.
So they ask the question, and then they write it down, and then they go each one. I want us to all put together a blame pie for the next segment. What percentage of your blame pie is Tannehill? What percentage of your blame pie is injuries? And what percentage of your blame pie is Vrabel? Are those the 3 places that it is fair to blame? Or do we need to add anything else to the list?
I think that's fair.
Ian?
Does weather play a part?
Sure. So everybody, all the 3 of us in the next segment will have a blame pie.
Okay.
So, and we are not to communicate with any of the other 3 about the blame pie. So we'll all have our independent blame pie. Because I do agree with the call. Like, I blame Tannehill more for yesterday than I blame Vrabel. I'm just asking the question if Vrabel deserves some blame, and I think the answer is yes. I don't think this is Vrabel didn't throw the 4 picks. Well, Vrabel sent Tannehill back out there with 9 seconds to go in the half, down 9-0 or 12-0 or whatever it was. He sent Tannehill back out there, which was stupid. So that's on Vrabel. Now, Tannehill's taking an intentional grounding.
That's on Tannehill.
I thought when Jeff Fisher got up there yesterday, and if you were watching on TV, you probably didn't hear this, but Jeff Fisher gets up there and goes, "That was not intentional grounding, and now I can say it, but that was terrible, and we got to," and I'm thinking, oh no, I'm going to have all these people call in tomorrow and be like, well, Jeff Fisher said it wasn't grounding, and it's like, okay, Jeff Fisher's trying to rile up the crowd. You'll be surprised, people, to know, and it worked on us for about 15 or so years. Jeff Fisher, from time to time, says things to get people happy with him. This would not be the first nor the last time, I guess, that would happen from Jeff Fisher. But, I mean, I just thought it was so dumb to send Tannehill back out there. I thought that was so – when I saw them on the field, I'm like, why?
Just kick a field goal.
Like, why? Like, what's the – like, what am I missing here? What am I – like, 9 seconds, no timeout. Tannehill's like, what are you – like, do you think you're going to get a shot to the end zone? And then when I saw it didn't work, I thought, these guys – and this goes back to the blame. I'm mad at Vrabel for doing it, and I'm mad at Tannehill for taking a grounding call. You've been in the NFL for 10 freaking years, and you take an intentional grounding with 9 seconds to go and no timeouts? Oh, my God.
Hypothetical question. The Titans have a fully healthy offense. They have AJ, they have Julio, they have Derrick Henry. Do you send Ryan Tannehill out there with 9 seconds to go in the second quarter?
No.
Okay.
No. Oh, my goodness. The only time I might do it is if they didn't have a kicker. And even then, I might say, Ben Jones, give it a try. Let's go.
You're a kicker today.
Let's go to Keith, who's up next. Thank you for calling. Thank you for waiting. Go ahead, Keith.
I tell you, I'm not much on the blame game, but I know who to blame for the Predators and the Titans both losing. That's Jared Stillman.
Okay.
Jared Stillman, Friday. What was it you said Friday, Jared? Oh, well, I'm not even going to talk about these 2 games because the other team sucks.
We did not say that about the Predators. Hold on. Well, no. We did not say that about the Predators in Montreal.
Yeah, go back and listen. But
No,
anyway,
we did not.
I want you to dog the Titans this week and guarantee that New England's going to win Sunday.
Keith, guess what? I have not even thought about the Patriot game. I'd probably say get used to about 20 minutes. Get ready for 16, 17 more hours of that, baby, because I got a feeling that's probably coming this week.
All right. Well, I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you, Keith. Okay. I will say this. We did say at the start of Friday's show, where's he getting this? We
never said that about the Predators.
What are we talking about? We did. I mean, I'm not sitting here to say, like, we didn't even talk about the Predators. But that game was Saturday. And we had Floyd Reese day on Friday. And I thought that this team was good enough, the Titan team was good enough and mature enough to go out there and not turn the ball over 5 times. You know what? I was wrong.
Yeah, maybe it is your fault.
He was right.
Why did you do that?
He was right.
Not cool of you.
In fairness, you did the same thing.
I did. But he didn't blame me.
But I was banking on this team to not ruin Floyd's day. And they didn't. Honestly, it was a good day.
You couldn't ruin that day.
No, it was pretty special. But It would have been nice if they had won. It would have been nice.
For many reasons.
It's kind of like
including
homecoming.
it being Floyd Day.
It's like I played basketball in high school, and we didn't have a football team, so homecoming was basketball. And, like, we sometimes lost the homecoming game. Now, sometimes we scheduled teams we should have never scheduled on homecoming, which will never understand that. But we lost on homecoming once, and it didn't bother me for the dance the next day. So it's kind of the same here. But, like, I mean, my goodness gracious, we thought, hey, can we trust the guys? You know what? Let's see if we can trust. Okay, we know. David on Tyrod Taylor, thank you for calling. Go ahead, David.
Hello?
Go ahead, David.
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching that game pretty intensely yesterday. And both times Tyrod Taylor took off running for touchdowns, it was a blown-up play from the get-go. The play was blown up at the start. And he goes to run left. Simmons is being held, so he couldn't get there because he seen where he was going. But both times he got held and nobody said anything. And I want to know, when are the refs going to stand up at the end of the game and answer for some of these horrendous calls? Because I'm with Fisher. That was not intentional grounding.
The answer to your question, David, and I appreciate your call. The answer to your question is never. When are the officials going to get up, put their hands in the air, and say that we made bad calls and we shouldn't have made bad calls, and so we're sorry and we screwed? Never. You know, I forget who the ref was in the Saints-Rams game. I want to say it was Clete Blakeman, but I'm not sure if that's... No, Blakeman did the other game where he also screwed up too. Maybe it was Bill Vinovich? I can't remember. But that Saints-Rams NFC game that they screwed up?
Blatantly blown call.
I mean, in that game, like, I'm just telling you, like, I felt like in my heart, I felt that, you know, you're never going to hear them ever. You're never going to hear them say, hey, we screwed up. So that's the answer to that. The second thing, did any of you guys think that the Tyrod Taylor touchdowns were not kosher?
I never felt that way.
Ian?
No. I may have missed it.
I thought they were fine.
Yeah, I didn't see anything where I was like, oh, my God. You know, and honestly, that's what it would require for you to call in and complain about it on the show. It'd have to be an, oh, my God, how did you? That is now the new standard for complaining about officiating, is either, like, not resetting the clock right or in, oh, my God, you're going to call that roughing the passer on Aaron Donald? That is the issue with officiating. Vrabel bitched about the officiating yesterday. I didn't think the officiating was all that bad. I've seen a lot worse, especially lately.
I don't think there was anything that made me stand up and say that was absolutely atrocious, but that may be because I've been comparing it to so many of these other games that have just had atrocious officiating. The Saints game for being one of them.
Guess what you're getting in the playoffs?
Jerome Boger?
No. You're getting everybody but him, but you're getting the same officiating.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting the same stuff. So, like Tony Correnti, who got just chucked under the bus for how bad he officiated that Monday Night Football game a couple of weeks ago.
Oh.
Tony Correnti's reffing in the playoffs. Like, I just want everybody to know that. He's reffing in the playoffs. Bill Vinovich, who I think does a pretty terrible job sometimes, he's reffing in the playoffs. Now, John Hussey is a good ref, and he'll ref in the playoffs too. But ultimately, these officials, I mean, they're going to ref in the playoffs. 615-737-1025. We're back to your phones, but we will do the blame pie. So all three of us will come up with, like, what percentage of the blame people should get for the Titans losing on Sunday, and then we will all discuss our blame pies, and then we will take your phones, and we'll do that next. Stillman and Company on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Semaglutide. There are a lot of people, and I know because when I was in high school, I was like 250, 270 pounds, and I know how hard it can be to lose weight. If you're somebody who just has a normal appetite and you've been skinny all your life, good for you. But if you are a big person and you cannot lose weight, semaglutide may be the answer to your prayers. And it is exclusively carried at Invigorate Health. Invigorate Health online at invigoratehealthtn.com. I have talked to primary care doctors, including my own, before I told you all about how much I believe in semaglutide, because I needed to know, hey, is this a safe drug? And they said, yes, it is safe, and they have been prescribing it for years to diabetics. So this is nothing new. It is not a new drug, but it has been newly approved for chronic weight loss by the FDA. Again, it's semaglutide, and it is only carried exclusively at Invigorate Health, online at InvigorateHealthTN.com. Here's what semaglutide basically does. It makes you less hungry. So when you're sitting there throughout the day and you mindlessly snack or things of that magnitude, it helps curb that. It also helps train you so that over time you realize what real portion sizes should be. And this is the key. I'm telling you, this could be a breakthrough. Men's Health magazine saying, quote, semaglutide can help people lose weight, improving weight-related health issues, and ideally gain more healthy years of life. In fact, their article said the best and worst new ways to lose weight, and the top best new way, according to Abby Langer RD in Men's Health magazine, was semaglutide was the number one option there. So it's carried exclusively at Invigorate Health, Invigorate Health, online at InvigorateHealthTN.com.
This is Phil Tomasino, and this is Smashville.
Tries to feed Tomasino in front, he scores! And the Predators win it in overtime, 3-2 the final.
This is a flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Celebrate Thanksgiving with Social Furniture and save up to 70% off all furniture. They have sofas, sectionals with chase lounge, and recliners that are all push-button electric and wall away. They have all colors to choose from for your comfort watching any hockey game. All of them are plus leather, microfiber, and Chanels. They have same-day delivery with no down payments and no interest. Forget the big box store. Support local. Support social. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
This holiday season, head into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest gifts from Titleist and Bushnell. Feel the difference with the Titleist T-Series irons. 4 models to give you maximum performance for any type of dedicated golfer. And don't miss these hot gifts from Bushnell, like the Tour V5 and the Tour V5 Shift with Pin Seeker technology, or the Wingman with Bluetooth and audible GPS for distance. Edwin Watts Golf Shops is home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online for the holidays at worldwidegolfshops.com.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Reynolds, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Craneworks, the Southeast leader for crane and equipment rental, is looking for the best in the business to fill positions as qualified operators, truck drivers, and mechanics. Craneworks provides superior customer service and a superior work environment. Start lifting Nashville to new heights and apply today at craneworks.com/careers. That's craneworks.com/careers.
Blood Assurance, the area's only nonprofit community blood center, announces that everyone who donates on November 26th at a Blood Assurance center will be entered to win a $50 Shell gasoline gift card. One gift card will be given away every hour. If you donate at a blood drive November 23rd through 27th, you will also be entered to win a $50 Shell gasoline gift card. Plus, one lucky donor who gives blood on Saturday the 27th will win a $500 Shell gift card. Give the gift of life this holiday season at Blood Assurance. Visit bloodassurance.org.
Tuesday night.
Oh, he scored! The boys in gold lead!
Playoff action comes to Music City with Nashville SC looking to continue their home dominance against Orlando City FC. Coverage begins at 6:45
on ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, I'm Gary Smith, head coach of Nashville SC. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Looked like a couple of the picks today were throws to Dez. I know you guys haven't had a lot of time together. Was that a situation maybe where there were some miscommunications on those, some routes that were different?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the details of everything. At the end of the day, it all falls squarely upon me, and I have to be better.
You go, Tannehill says it all falls on me. So if he was doing a blame pie, it would be 100% Tannehill. Maybe. Live from Bridgestone Arena. Okay, blame pie, and then we're to your phones. Caroline Fenton, what is your blame pie for the Titans' loss to the Texans? Which, let me state for the record, we discussed this during the last break. We haven't spent enough time discussing how inexcusable it is to lose to the Texans. which it should be stated for the record.
When it comes down to it, the root of it all, I mean, if the Titans lose to, the loss to the Arizona Cardinals, yes, it was frustrating, and yes, it was a little embarrassing, but then we went on to learn that the Arizona Cardinals were a legit contender, but losing to the Texans, come on. My blame pie currently sits 40% at Tannehill. It's inexcusable to throw 4 interceptions, so he gets a majority of my blame.
I'm surprised that a majority is 40%.
Well, more blame than anything else that I'm putting blame on, but I'm putting 30%
like
of
a
it on
primary.
Vrabel. Yes, exactly. 30% of it is Vrabel, because I think that there were some calls that he made that were a bit questionable. And I know we brought it up before, but I do want to emphasize the fact that Mike Vrabel just cannot get these guys ready for games that they're supposed to win. I mean, the fact that 2 of the Titans' 3 losses are to the Jets and to the Texans, I feel like part of that has to fall on Mike Vrabel. 20% to injuries, because to TD's point, Tannehill's not working with much. And when you're a quarterback in the NFL, when you make $30 million a year, you need to be making better decisions. But I have to think that if there was a fully healthy personnel out there, Tannehill would be making those mistakes, because Des Fitzpatrick would not be out there to run the wrong routes, and 10% to the rain. Because I think there's a little bit of blame in that you're not playing 100%, but I'm not going to put a lot of stake in the rain, because this is the NFL. And you have
All
to
right,
play
give me the
whatever
rundown of that
conditions
again.
are. 40% Tannehill, 30% Vrabel, 20% injuries, 10% rain.
Ian?
I also went 40% Tannehill,
You guys are soft.
40% injuries,
Wow.
40.
15% Vrabel, 5% rain.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
I went 60% Tannehill. 4 interceptions against that team.
4 interceptions. It's
Against that
atrocious.
crap team.
It's inexcusable.
And not only that, this is a Lifetime Achievement Award for Tannehill, because he's been doing this for a little bit. Like this, I don't know about you, I'm not surprised. I'm
4
not
interceptions,
surprised.
you're not surprised.
The one that he threw to A.J. Brown,
Unfortunately,
he has
that was
thrown
not surprising.
every week for the last 5 weeks.
That was
Why
not
would that surprise
surprising.
me now? 25% Vrabel.
Okay.
9% injuries.
Ew. 9?
It's the Texans.
I know, but 9's like a gross number.
5% on Chester Rogers. What was he doing?
Yeah, that was
seriously, what was he doing? I'm watching this play on the Jumbotron on the replay, and I'm like, what were you thinking? Just get away from the ball. Oh my God, it's like elementary level stuff here. It's like he's never returned a punt in the NFL. It's embarrassing. So Chester Rogers gets 5% of it, because I figure if I'm giving 60% to Tannehill for turning over the football essentially 5 times, the intentional grounding one,
yeah,
then I got to give blame to Chester Rogers for what he did, because that was stupid.
That was stupid.
1% to the ghost of Floyd Reese, because I could hear him chuckling after we started the show on Friday saying, can we focus on Floyd's induction to the Ring of Honor and not worry about the Texans because they're the Texans? And I said on the air at the time that the GM would be saying, you have never won in the NFL. You don't know anything about the NFL, and every team we're worried, and like he always used to. And so I'm up there with his family watching the game yesterday, and I'm hearing him saying, in my head, I'm hearing, I told you couldn't get too excited. And I'm like, oh, no. So I'm putting 1% on the ghost of Floyd Reese.
That's not fair.
Well, Tannehill's 59% more.
Okay, that's okay.
So Tannehill 60, Vrabel 25, injuries 9, Chester Rogers 5, 1% Floyd. The ghost of Floyd Reese.
Way to go, Floyd.
And I don't
Way to go.
Now, here's the thing. He would have never wanted the Titans to lose. Ever. He would have never. But I definitely think he'd get some enjoyment out of me sitting there on Friday saying, the Texans. Because that's if there's any lessons that you learn over the years working with somebody like that, it's that. It's the, hey, don't ever get too cocky. Don't ever get too. And we definitely had our bouts with that over the years of them playing a Cleveland or a Cincinnati or a whatever, and they'd go out and lose, and it'd be like, I told you, the NFL, I told you. And so I had 5 years worth of lessons back in my head yesterday on his day, of all the days. Let's go back to your phones. Ellie is up next here on Stillman and Company Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus, sparkling water with a spark. What's up, Ellie?
Hey, what's up? To be realistic, we should have lost by 30 points in all those turnovers. My biggest concern with the offense is Tannehill should have, Tannehill made the same interception against Indianapolis. That's what I could concern is the mistakes are being made over and over again. We just got to get it out of him. The offensive coordinator's got to stop it. And Taylor Lewan should not be running downfield 20 yards, jumping into the pile again. He keeps on doing it. He got a concussion like that. He'll get personal fouls like that. We got to learn from our mistakes. Watch the tape, learn, and then put the process in motion. And if we do that, we'll be fine. If not, we're going to go downhill. We're not going to win the playoffs because all we have to do is lose once in the playoffs and play a game like this, and we're done.
Ellie, I appreciate your call. Am I alone in saying one of my biggest frustrations right now with Tannehill is that it does seem like he's throwing the same interception every game?
That's the thing. Is it's, and it's happening at least one a game. It's like he almost has to get it out of his system.
Right, you're a 10-year vet. You know better than that. The first time, okay. The 8th time, like the first Colts game, he threw the ball right over the middle. And remember, people were trying to say, well, Tommy Hudson and Jeremy McNichols ran to the wrong spot. He cocked the football down like, oh, can't throw that now. Screw it, and threw it right to the guy. The second Colts game, he threw the ball right to the Colt linebacker standing there. The Chiefs game, he pooped his pants on a blitz and just threw it right over the line, and the guy intercepted it. Linebacker standing right there. This game, linebacker standing right there. He's staring down A.J. Brown, and he just throws it. First off, it was a bad throw, and secondly, he was staring down the receiver. Guy just jumped up. It's the same throw. It's the same throw in every game. He's staring somebody down, and he doesn't see the defensive player there. The safety from the Bills was standing right there. That's frustrating for a 10-year vet making $30 million, a guy that you put your trust in. It's one thing when Des Fitzpatrick screws up. Mm-hmm. It's another thing when it's somebody that you trust.
Someone that you should trust.
Somebody that you've seen do it before. Somebody that's making a lot of money because they've done it for you and they protected the ball. And this guy, I don't know. And I don't know what genius Arthur Smith must be to get Tannehill not to throw the ball right over the middle to a linebacker. But apparently Todd Downing can't get that out of him. And that is the frustrating part, in all seriousness, is to the caller's point, this does feel like he's got to get it out of his system. Oh, okay, that was the one right there.
Why doesn't Tannehill turn to his legs more often? He's quick. Why doesn't he run the ball?
I don't want to put that on Tannehill. I don't want to say, okay, now you got to go out there and play like you're trying to be Lamar Jackson. Or
I'm not saying he's got to be Lamar Jackson.
Trying to be one of those kind of guys.
I'm not saying he's got to be Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying that he's got to run the ball on every single play. But, did he run the ball at all yesterday?
He did on one of those 4th downs where he ended up getting it.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you. I just think the fear of getting him killed running the football.
That is a fair point. His team is already just massacred.
A valid one. And I think some of the faking they do with the RPOs, it's not really as valid when Derrick Henry's not in there. Now, they ran him a little bit against the Rams, and it worked. But I don't think you can do that more often. I think Tannehill's got to run naturally. And then I don't know about the footing yesterday or anything like that. I do know that I wouldn't feel comfortable going to a guy who is decent when it comes to off-script running and saying, hey, I want you to off-script run more. I wouldn't feel comfortable telling Tannehill to do that. We're to your phones next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. ESPN 94.9 is the official English radio home of the Nashville Soccer Club. Tune in tomorrow night as 3-seed Nashville SC takes on 6-seed Orlando SC in the first round of the Audi MLS playoffs at Nissan Stadium. Pre-game 6:45. The match begins at 7. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Cold tonight as temperatures drop back into the mid-20s under a mainly clear sky. We'll see another chilly day for Tuesday, although lots of sunshine. Highs top off in the mid to upper 40s. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Lowe's Provember event ends November 24th. Get top values on pro brands like DeWalt and Spyder. Lowe's, the new home for pros. U.S. only.
Gary Ashton here. Most people in Nashville know me as the don't sell without the intel and the guaranteed offer guy. But despite my accent, I'm also 100% guaranteed Nashville. I'm a guaranteed musician, a guaranteed dog lover, and you're also guaranteed to see me at every Titans and Preds game. Guaranteed offer means the Gary Ashton team with Remax Advantage will sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give you up to 90 days to close. So there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping the people we call neighbors and friends, which is why we've had a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. Remember, Gary Ashton, guaranteed Nashville.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit over 10 years old? Now is the time to replace, and waiting can cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Central AC unit pricing continues to rise and will rise up another 20% next year. Get ahead of the increase now with up to 60 months no interest financing. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling offers a 10-year part and labor warranty on all new installs. Visit springhillac.com or call them at 615-778-8855.
People who are vaccinated are getting sick from COVID variants, and Americans have no end of questions and concerns. What we do know is that fever is the leading sign of COVID, so everyone needs an accurate thermometer. Exergen temporal scanner's accuracy is backed by more than 100 clinical studies, while non-contact devices have no supporting studies. Vaccines are not enough. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Exergen is changing the way the world takes temperature.
Parman Tractor and Equipment is your one-stop tractor and equipment solution and Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. No matter how you're getting there, start with Parman Tractor and Equipment. Rent or purchase a track loader, mini excavator, large excavators for your job site, or something in between. Their service and parts team will get your work site up and running in no time. Parman Tractor and Equipment will come to you for service if needed. Visit ParmanTractor.com for more info. Your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer, providing totally outrageous customer service.
Robbie Stanley.
That size and that speed just doesn't grow on trees. That could be something that you could really turn into.
Joe Rexrode.
Just hold out and somebody will call in the bad signal.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is on. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Stillman and Company Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, live from Bridgestone Arena. Get to your phones in just a second, but I have to tell people about something that I should have already pulled up on my email, and I didn't pull it up yet, so now I am going to my email to pull it up. I do have
Rookie mistake.
I do. Oh, thank you. I do have an epic Floyd story to tell later today in the show. And it was one of these ones where first I was mad at him, then I was mad at me. But I'll explain. Gold Friday is on a game day this week for the Nashville Predators. This year, Gold Friday falls on a game day, which means fans can take advantage of deals online or in person, which range from discounted tickets to discounted Bridgestone Arena event tickets, discounted merch, Preds ticket pack deals, and more. And don't forget to come to Bridgestone Arena as the Predators take on the New Jersey Devils for an in-game Gold Friday giveaways, happy hour at Pete and Terry's Tavern, and more. Gold Friday deals are available for season ticket citizens starting today, Monday, November 22nd, using the username and password in the Preds email, and the general public starting on Wednesday. So that's Gold Friday. To your phones we go. Tommy has been waiting patiently on the wide receivers. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Tommy.
Hey, yeah, I'm just curious. I know Ryan Tannehill threw 2 Miami bonehead passes and turned into interceptions, but I'm wondering if some of these other ones ain't from him being used to these young receivers. If he's used to maybe his number ones doing something particular at a certain point that these new guys ain't doing.
So I appreciate your call, Tommy. I think that's totally part of it. I mean, there's no doubt that if Tannehill had the good guys out there, he probably doesn't throw 4 interceptions yesterday.
I think he throws that first one no matter who's in the game.
Well, remember who he was throwing it to.
To AJ.
So, I mean, here's the thing. Tannehill played a flawless game against the Kansas City Chiefs. except he threw one ball right over the middle, right to the linebacker. So I don't think Tannehill throws 4 interceptions yesterday against the Texans if he's got the good guys out there. The problem is this is the NFL. And you still have to find a way to win even when the good guys aren't out there. Life is not built on sitting back and saying, well, and I know some people, lose and they say that they won when they really didn't win, and everybody knows that they didn't win, but then they convince people that they didn't win, and they say that they didn't win. They say that they won when they didn't win. But I don't live my life like that. So winning to me is pretty defined. Either you won or you lost. I don't look back at some of these old games and think, well, the Predators didn't have Ryan Johansson or Kevin Fiala in the Stanley Cup final in 2017. So give them the cup and take it away from Pittsburgh. That's not how this works. The Titans played the Ravens in a playoff game in 2003. And the Ravens that year, I can't remember I know they had Kyle Bowler, was like a young guy they had drafted in the first round, and he never made it, and he got hurt. But then they had another quarterback. I can't remember who it is. Like maybe Elvis Gerback? I can't totally. Let me see. Who were their quarterbacks were that year? Chris Redmond. That's right. They had Chris Redmond, and he played a little bit. And then Kyle Bowler got hurt. And at the end of the year, they had to go to Anthony Wright, who was a journeyman backup, and he was their starting quarterback. And so the Titans got into a playoff game where the Ravens had a 2,000-yard rusher in Jamal Lewis and a backup Anthony Wright, who the Titans had obliterated 3 years prior on Christmas Day when he was with the Cowboys. I mean, this guy was terrible. And they're playing this team in the playoffs. And I didn't feel bad for the fact that the Ravens had a quarterback who sucked. I don't feel bad. And that's what the Texans do not feel bad that Des Fitzpatrick didn't run his routes right. And so I think, okay, if the other guys aren't going to feel bad and the other guys aren't going to take it back, then don't you have to look at yourself in the mirror? And that's why I only gave injuries 9%. 2 reasons. One, we can't sit here and make excuses on injuries. Everybody else will do that for you. We can't. The second part of it is it's the Texans. So even if you are hurt, that Texan team right now is so bad. They're undergoing a rebuild that they weren't ready for. Like, let's say the Titans decided they wanted to rebuild. Let's say the Titans said, okay, we're going for it this year. We're going for it next year. After that, we're blowing it up. Well, you can prepare for that because you can say, okay, here's what you're going to do. You're going to trade A.J. Brown. So now you're going to get a bunch of picks in the future. And you're going for it this year, and AJ's last year, but you have the option to franchise tag him, so you can essentially sign AJ to something, or you can do something and then turn around and trade AJ. It's not the nicest thing in the world to do, but if you were preparing to blow it up after next year, you could. Now, it's harder because of the deal you reworked with Tannehill, which was essentially an extension. It's harder to do that, but you could. Because if you traded Tannehill, if you put Tannehill on the market, somebody give you a third-round pick for him and say,
if
okay.
Not more. A starting quarterback?
At that kind of salary?
That is a very high salary.
Jared Goff just cost 3 first-round picks to get rid of. Like, that's, and Jared Goff's younger.
Yeah.
So,
he has a huge salary.
And so, I think that you probably would get a third-round pick for Tannehill. Maybe a third, maybe. Like, if you were to take on more. Because any team that acquires him is giving up a pick and taking on the cap. So, and now I don't know how that would work with all the signing bonuses that you've given him over the last couple of years. And honestly, it may be more feasible to trade him for another team and then you take the dead hit. But you could, after next year, trade away Tannehill, trade away A.J. Brown, trade away Simmons, and you could load up, which is what the Dolphins did a couple years ago. Traded away Tunsil, traded away Minkah Fitzpatrick, traded away all these guys. So you could do that. The Texans are in a rebuild because they let their moronic coach, who's never worked a day in personnel in his life, run the organization into the ground. The guy's never scouted players before. He has never drafted players before. He has never worked with a cap. He commandeered the entire, he commandeered the entire personnel department when he doesn't have any idea what he's doing. And so now it's all blown up. The quarterback doesn't want to be there. So he's deactivated every game when you're paying him $40 million a year. I mean, it's a mess. They have no picks. They have no cap space. They have no guys to trade to get them picks. The one guy they have to trade that can help them start a rebuild is facing like 22 sexual misconduct allegations. It's a mess. And you still lost to them.
I mean, the Texans are an absolute mess. And I said on Friday that I think that they have the worst roster in the NFL, and I still would probably re-up that statement again because they don't have a very good roster. And like the next 5 to 10 years of the Texans franchise probably doesn't look very bright. But I know that it's the Texans, but it also is the NFL. And if you give a team 5 extra opportunities to score, they're going to take it because at the end of the day, they are still NFL players.
Who's playing around with our lights in here?
I don't know. It's kind of nice, though.
Interesting. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We'll get back to your phones as we always do on a Reaction Monday and a Titan Monday. But I got to say this. There is one thing about the 2021 Tennessee Titans that I am not willing to do. I'm not willing to do it. Maybe you are. I don't know. By the way, did you hear Joe Rexroad's subtweet at me during the Rex rant today?
No, I did not.
So Joe Rexroad's Rex rant today was like, no, I'm not pointing to any one particular show or even one particular station or a market, but if you go on there and say, this show is the most critical or this show tells the truth the most, then you're just lying because you don't listen to all the shows. And so I texted Joe back and I said, thanks for the lecture from a guy who talks about bumper music on the air. But I will say this. Because Joe's thing was like, I don't know what all the other shows are talking about. I don't have time during the day to listen to all the other shows. And I'm thinking, Joe, you know good well that I listen to every show in this city.
Yeah, that is true.
There is nobody who listens to more talk radio than me.
I do have to say, you use the bumper music argument every time you fight with Joe.
Because it's ridiculous. I'm getting a radio lesson from somebody who's not as good as me who's sitting there talking about bumper music.
I'm not saying he is or isn't. All I'm saying is you use the bumper music argument a lot.
Because it's terrible. Like, I am embarrassed now to be talking about bumper music, about them talking about bumper music.
Yeah, you're going to get a text from Joe.
It is honestly like nails on a chalkboard to me when any radio host in any city, in any market starts talking about the music coming back from break. I am like, dude, that is so embarrassing. Like, do your job. Like, do your job. This is not...
You're not a DJ.
This is right. This is not like Rockin' Randy's Rolling Hits 99.3, the big old fish. Like,
music station.
This is not what it is. Like, dude, nobody listens to Colin Cowherd to hear what the bumper music coming in is going to be. It gets me all riled up. But so, anywho, I just, Joe is sitting there, like, essentially criticizing me for saying that I can't listen to all the other shows. When everybody knows that nobody listens to more talk radio than me. I have less of a life than everybody else, and everybody knows it. Fair?
Fair.
There you go. 615-737-1025, Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
Take us wherever you may go. There is going to be a whole lot of work going on. Shoot us in anywhere, anytime.
I think he has some big play in him.
Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, it's Jared. Your body needs water. That doesn't mean it has to be boring. And I'm here to tell you to give Focus a try. Focus is a sparkling water with a spark. It's infused with a boost of natural tea caffeine so you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S, on the web at drinkfocus.com.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, we have a major medical breakthrough. The WAVE technology at Hillside Medical Clinic was tested by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic, and the results are in. It's proven to increase blood flow by repairing blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause, call us now. And not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces powerful results in the bedroom. I don't think I've ever seen it fail. This is a $600 value, free to those that call in the next 2 minutes. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
This weekend, when you buy any piece of jewelry at Genesis, you'll get one of the year's coolest holiday gifts absolutely free. And the more you spend, the bigger the free gift. You heard us right. Yeti coolers, Ring security cameras, air fryers, even Apple iPad Air tablets. Absolutely free with purchase. Spend just $299 or more on a piece of jewelry, and Genesis gives you an amazing Echo Show device free. Spend $499 and you'll get the Fujifilm Mini Polaroid camera. Or how about an espresso coffee maker? Free when you spend $999 at Genesis this weekend. So you can get her that beautiful ring or pair of earrings for Christmas and get one of the year's hottest gifts at no additional charge. Treat yourself or your family. How about a Roomba i3 vacuum robot or an old school cool arcade game when you spend at least $1,999 this weekend? Or listen to this. Spend $3,999 on a piece of jewelry and get a 55-inch 4K Samsung Smart TV. Yours free. This Friday through Cyber Monday. It's Genesis Diamonds' best Black Friday event ever. Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Tune in every Monday at 8 a.m. and Friday at 3:15 to hear News 2's Corey Curtis take on all things Nashville sports, including the week's NFL games. All brought to you by Invigorate Health in Mount Juliet. Look and feel your best with IV therapy, medical weight loss, testosterone, body shaping, and more.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman. On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus Sparkling Water. With a spark, drinkfocus.com, live from Bridgestone Arena. Preds and Ducks tonight. Preds Game Day broadcast brought to you by Hermitage Design Center, the professional source for lighting, hardware, appliance, custom kitchens, and baths on the web at gohermitage.com. So, yesterday, my friends were mad. Oh, were they mad at the Titans. My buddy at the gym, who I always kind of bounce things off of. I look at him as kind of like every person who calls this show.
He's just like one person who is the city of Nashville.
I walked into the gym and I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how mad are you about this Texans loss? He looked at me and goes, 12. And I was like, thinking to myself, I'm like, honestly, I wasn't that mad. I wasn't that mad after the loss yesterday. I mean, the way I watched this game was I saw it and I was like, yep, figures. You know, the whole Tannehill thing about him throwing interceptions and making poor decisions, we've been talking about that for a little bit now. This is not
it's never been 4.
No, but it has not been it. Again, remember when he threw the ball that was incomplete against Indianapolis in the first game, and I lost my bananas because I'm like, if you do that, it's going to bite you in the butt. Well, Jared, it wasn't an interception. It wasn't. So now it's getting intercepted.
And it was the same thing last week. Well, you know, he was intercepted, but it was roughing the passer call, so we got bailed out on it. He got bailed out. He shouldn't have to get bailed out of a stupid throw.
Ultimately, it's going to bite you in the butt. And so I saw that, and I'm like, figures. All the injuries, yeah. I mean, you know, you may be one of the best teams, and, you know, you may be one of the best teams in the NFL, and you have all those injuries, and it's going to be harder to win games. So I kind of saw, you know, figures. Titans don't get up for a big game. That kind of figures. So my friends are getting all mad. They're all mad yesterday, all freaking out. Now, I'm going to say this, too. It's kind of hard when your mentor goes into the team's Hall of Fame for you to be, like, really, really mad about what just happened. Like that. So I do think that had I been at home and this been a noon kickoff and this been a road game and this had been, you know, whatever, it would have been different than, you know, sitting around the suite at the Titans game telling Floyd stories for 4 hours and then going back and telling more Floyd stories. So I give myself that. But I'm going to say this. I'm not giving up on the 2021 Titans today. I remember the Titans played the Texans back when the Texans were good, And it was kind of like for the division. It was mid-December. Titans had gotten themselves back into the mix. Tannehill was putting up Joe Montana-like numbers and not turning the football over. And they played the Texans, and Anthony Ferkser and Ryan Suckup absolutely threw the game. One ball hit Ferkser in the hands. It popped into Whitney Merciless's arms. He ran down, and he got pushed out of bounds, kind of like that Tannehill interception around the goal line, which basically turned into points for Houston. And then Ryan Suckup missed like 2 field goals or got one blocked or something like that, and the Titans lost. And I remember sitting there. Now there were 2 games left in the season, and the Titans needed the Steelers to lose an AFC game, and they needed to not lose an AFC game. And I remember thinking the Steelers rest of the way, it was like a Ravens team that was going to play nobody in the last week of the year and a Jets team that was the Jets. And I remember thinking, oh, no, now they're not going to make the playoffs, and oh, God. And Floyd, being the way that he is, he goes, I'm not crying in my beer over this one. And I thought to myself, what are you talking about, old man? You had the playoffs in your hands, and Anthony Ferkser just lost it. Like, what are you? And so I'm not crying in my beer over this loss. Do I like that they lost to the Texans? No, I don't like it. I think if it proves anything, that the NFL, which is just loves parity, the NFL's getting it this year. There's not one team right now in the entire league you can feel good about. You can't feel good about Arizona. Green Bay lost to Minnesota yesterday. You can't feel good about Dallas. You can't feel good about Kansas City. You can't feel good about Buffalo. You can't feel good about Indianapolis. You can't feel good about Tennessee. You can't feel good about New England. You can't feel good about Cincinnati. You can't feel good about Baltimore. You can't feel good about anybody. This is what the NFL wants. You put all the teams in a bag right now that are the playoff contenders, shake it up, and pull out a team, and that could be you could pull out Chargers right now and say, Chargers, and it wouldn't shock me if that's how it ended up happening this year with the Super Bowl. So, like, the Titans are still going to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
The Titans are still, barring a disaster, going to win the division. The number 1 seed is very much in play. Guess who's the number 1 seed right now? You. The Titans are. Now, are there things about this team that got to get fixed? Yeah, there are. For starters, the quarterback needs to stop turning the ball over. But guess what? This show, and yeah, Joe, I listened to all the other shows. This show is the one that has been fretting about it for months. For literally 2 months, we've been talking about Tannehill's bad decision-making. This is nothing new. Now, all the other shows are like, well, Des Fitzpatrick did this one, and then this one was, but Tannehill needs to be better. And we were saying Tannehill needs to be better 2 months ago. Now we're saying it's going to cost you if it doesn't get better. The coaching has got to get better than it was yesterday. Vrabel can get him up for a big game, but he can't get him up for the Texans. Well, guess what? Vrabel better get him up for the Jags. He better get him up for the 49ers. He better get him up for the Dolphins. He better get him up for the Steelers. And he better get him up for the Texans again. And whatever the problem is with this team about how they can't ever seem to figure out to beat bad teams, I have never seen anything like this in my life. I have never seen somebody that's like, you know what? You're great at driving a Ferrari, but the second we put you behind the wheel of a Hyundai, you look like you have no idea what you're doing. There is nothing else in life that is like this with the Tennessee Titans. I have never seen someone that's like, what's funny? When you take advanced calculus, you get A's. When you take basket weaving, you get C's. I've never seen that before. So Vrabel's got to get that figured out. There's no doubt about that. But these are all concerns that I've had. They're not new. I told you when Derrick Henry got hurt, and yes, I think if Derrick Henry plays yesterday, I think the Titans win. I told you when Derrick Henry got hurt, I said, if he's back, you got a shot. If he's not, you're not going to win the Super Bowl. And I have never moved off that point. And I stand by it. And I stand by it stronger today than I did before. Because now I know how valuable Derrick is to this team. So I'm just telling you right now, the idea of losing to the Texans, I get that you're mad. And I get that the Titans, with the Bills losing yesterday and how the Patriots, they got 2 games against each other. They're probably going to split them. And how that would have been just so nice to have had this win and have been thinking about, a bonus game at New England, heading into the bye week, get some of your players back, take a run at it, get the 1 seed, whatever, and that sets you back a little bit. I understand being upset about it, but the idea that this game changes anything about how I feel about the Titans, I think is probably out there, because it doesn't. All the things that happened yesterday have been bothering me for forever. Tannehill's decision-making has been bothering me for 2 months. Vrabel's inability to get him up for a team that's not so great, but boy, can he motivate him against the best teams in the league. That's been bothering me for 3 years. The special teams yesterday, Chester Rogers kicks a ball, and it goes to the Texans. Ian, how long have I wanted to fire the special teams coach for?
What year is it?
2021.
Yeah, 4 years.
I mean, like this. So none of my problems with yesterday's game, none of my problems are new. Like none of them are new. And so I look at this and I said, look, don't trade for the injured wide receiver because he's going to get injured again. There you go. Don't draft the injured corner because he might get injured again. There you go. I mean, like, so everything that's happened to this team right now, I'm not surprised by. So every way that I felt about them before this game is still how I feel about them after this game. And I am not changing my opinion.
Want to make one thing clear. Just because we spent all last week and probably about a good bit of the last month talking about how concerned we were of Tannehill's decision making. Just because we've been talking about that doesn't mean that we are glad that Tannehill confirmed our concerns.
These freaking people yesterday.
I would have loved nothing more than to be proven wrong about Ryan Tannehill's bad decision making.
I'm sorry to cut you off. You know what bothers me about that though?
What?
Like, you people that sit there and like tweet or call in and say like, you hate Tannehill, you're rooting against Tannehill. You either have never listened to the show or know nothing about me. But like, what are you talking about?
We're not glad that Ryan Tannehill turned the ball over 4 times yesterday.
I have told the story that I went to the Super Bowl in, Atlanta, and they really lost by 2 yards. Like, this comes up with anybody who actually knows the Titans. Kevin Dyson was 2.5 yards short. Then he got back up and he stretched the ball like right to the goal line, but like they were 2.5 yards short. They were not 1 yard.
But 1 yard short is a lot catchier.
It's more dramatic.
Yeah.
It's more right.
Yeah.
They were 2.5 yards short. I was sitting in that
doesn't
end
fit
zone.
on a t-shirt.
I was sitting in that end zone and I cried. Like that is the way. So you sit there and say like you were rooting for Tannehill. I would love nothing more than for Ryan Tannehill to be the next Drew Brees. Guy gets drafted by the Chargers. Doesn't work out there, suffers an injury, goes to New Orleans as a franchise quarterback, goes to the Hall of Fame and wins the Super Bowl. I would love nothing more for that to be Ryan Tannehill. But I keep it real. The Titans played the Jets in 2006. And it was the first game of the year. Vince Young had been drafted. And it was really odd and fluky. And honestly, I think probably one of the bigger mistakes that Floyd made over his time. But like Billy Volek, I think was mad that they had drafted Vince Young. And there was some friction there. And so right before the start of the season, and I think I asked Floyd about this, and I think he said that he couldn't really remember the details. And maybe because Billy Volek and Kerry Collins weren't that important, maybe that's true. But I can't remember. So Kerry Collins has been on the team for like a week, and he's the starting quarterback week 1 against the Jets. And somehow, some way, they're in the game at the end, and they lose by like a 2-point conversion or something. It's Vince Young's rookie year. And I remember walking out of the stadium with my dad, and I was just, coaching was awful that day. Tackling was awful that day. It was just unacceptable from the Titans. It's this, it's that. Chad Pennington did this. And I remember walking out of the stadium and having that conversation. That's literally every day on this radio show. So, like, you have to think that this radio show is essentially hosted by a 15-year-old walking out of the stadium talking to their dad about how upset they are that the team lost. So when people go on these like tangents about like you guys hate Tannehill or there is nothing more, I have no beef with Ryan Tannehill. I think Ryan Tannehill is a good guy. I think Ryan Tannehill, has always put the team first. I think Ryan Tannehill is adored in that locker room. I think Ryan Tannehill is, everything you want your team leader to be off the field. I think Ryan Tannehill's that. But life's about having standards and expectations. And my expectation for Ryan Tannehill is that you're going to play the game at a certain level if I'm going to invest in you to play at that certain level. If I'm going to commit to you, you got to meet me halfway. And Ryan Tannehill's not doing that right now. And so this idea of like you guys want Tannehill to throw 4 picks, no, I don't. I want Floyd Day to be celebrated by a beatdown of the Texans because that's what Floyd would have wanted.
But I do need to call you out on one thing.
Okay.
I know that there was absolutely nothing that could have rained on your parade yesterday. It was Floyd's day. But we spent all of last week and especially Friday talking about how we didn't even want to talk about this Texans game because it should have been a game that they would have won and that we should have trusted the Titans enough to win that game.
We asked the question, do we trust the Titans? We said yes, that was a mistake we made.
Yes. So I think that to say that we trusted the Titans enough to beat the Texans on Friday and they didn't do it on Sunday, I think there has to be a little bit of upset there. There has to be a little bit of anger toward the Titans.
Anger is not the right word. Disappointment.
Disappointment, I would say.
That would be
we
the
left
word.
them home alone and they threw a party.
They disappointed us.
Yeah.
You know, that's what happened.
They still have good grades and we still trust them, but they messed up.
Well, we don't trust them anymore, but we still love them.
We still love them.
But we don't trust them. And that's, I mean, look, these games the rest of the way, what'd I just tell you? He better get him ready for the Dolphins. He better get him ready for the 49ers. He better get him ready for the Jags. He better get him ready. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Coming up next, the biggest real question that comes from this game, because there is one question I got right here that does matter, and we'll get to that next, and there may be something good about that. So we'll get to that. Stillman and Company right here on ESPN 1025 The Game. Let me tell you about TriStar Moving. When I moved, I used my buddies at TriStar Moving, and I loved it. Garrett and Robert that own TriStar Moving, they started that company out, and it is exploding. Why? Because so many people absolutely love the service that they get from TriStar Moving. It's TriStar Moving with 5-star service, and I can back that up because I use TriStar. It, like me, is a local Nashville company. Those dudes love taking care of their communities. When I moved with them, it was a total breeze. They offer home protection, covering your floors, banisters, railings, door jambs, and even the doors themselves. They do it all with a brand new state-of-the-art storage facility in Mount Juliet. This company is the real deal. So if you're looking to move, give my friends at TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219. Or visit their website at nationalmoving.org/radio, where they'll give you 5% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, nationalmoving.org/radio. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you for 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
It's game day in Smashville. Brought to you by Hermitage Design Center.
Now for Gronlund, right in front to score. Matt Duchene scores again.
The Preds are back home to face off against the Ducks. Pre-game coverage begins at 6 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Men, what if I told you that now you're able to get testosterone replacement therapy in the comfort of your own home? No more weekly trips to the doctor's office. We come to you 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Be seen by a licensed medical professional in the privacy and comfort of your own home or office. You decide. Schedule your appointment today at CoolSpringsMDformen.com.
Hey everybody, Robbie Stanley here, and you can turn every Tuesday into payday with TNT Tuesdays on FanDuel Sportsbook. And it doesn't matter if you win or lose, FanDuel is giving all customers $10 back every Tuesday. Just bet a $10 or more same-game parlay on any NBA on TNT game. My beloved Miami Heat, always an option. Bam Adebayo on the over on rebounds. Jimmy Butler over on points. But you take it any way you want to take it. You've got the money line, the over-under, the point spread, player point totals. All that is an option and more. So make sure you take advantage of that on the FanDuel Sportsbook, which I love betting on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Live betting options are great every day, great odds boost and specials as well. And you get paid in as little as 2 hours. So if you're new to FanDuel, just sign up with promo code ROB to get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000 and make every moment more this NBA season. Once again, that promo code is ROB. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. A max bonus of $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Did you expect the 12 straight games to be as physically challenging as it looks like it has been, or has this been maybe a little harder than you expected on some guys?
I mean, it's pro football, so we expect it to be tough and physical. We deal with the injuries as they come up, and we try to just get everybody prepared each week the best that we can. I don't know if I had any expectations on what that would look like.
There you go, Mike Vrabel trying to say nothing, but kind of telling the truth there about, hey, I didn't know if we'd be hurt, not hurt, whatever. Titans really need to get to their bye week. So here's what matters to me about yesterday's game. And look, I don't like losing AFC games, and I don't like losing divisional games, and I don't like losing games that you should win. But I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to mean it. I need to know the extent of the injuries that were suffered in the game. Marcus Johnson, I forget about him. He strained his hamstring. I'm sitting there next to Sean, Floyd's son, and Marcus Johnson pulls up in the end zone that we're sitting in, and Sean looks at me. And Sean used to work for the Titans for a little bit, and, when you're around Floyd enough, you learn certain things. And he goes, hammy. Like, as soon as it happens, he goes, hammy. And I'm like, you know what? That's probably what Marcus Johnson's been dealing with all year. Like, that's probably what, at the end of training camp. And I want to say he was on the injury report for a knee, but I can't remember. But I see hammy, and I'm like, okay, goodbye, Marcus. It was nice you had that one game. Way to go. All right, see you. And but I need to know the AJ thing. Now, Ian Rappaport came out and said that the X-rays on AJ's ribs were negative. So there are still more tests to be done. So I like the idea that the X-rays were negative, but I don't like the idea that there are still more tests to do, which makes me think that AJ could actually be hurt. Because the truth is, and while I'm not a big excuse maker, and I don't love using injuries as an excuse, nobody in the league can win without. If you've got 2 Pro Bowl players on your team, and I think Dupree made the Pro Bowl last year, but I can't remember, but he was, I think, leading the league in sacks before he got hurt. And Pittsburgh was like 12-0 when he was on the team, and then he left, and they were never the same. So let's just assume he made the Pro Bowl last year. Maybe we're wrong. But you can't take the only 3 Pro Bowl players off your team and then expect to be a good team. And last year, Derek and AJ were the only 2 Pro Bowlers on this team that made the Pro Bowl. So you can't take those guys off and then expect to be a good team. And that's right now the reality of the situation is down the stretch. Your roster is closer. When you're throwing to Nick Westbrook-Akina and Des Fitzpatrick, your roster is closer to that of the Texans than it is to that of the best team in the AFC, which is what you are. And so, and they're not going to give you timelines or anything like that. But I do need to know the extent of the injuries because that is starting to become a real concern. Not trying to make an excuse, but just saying that it is, it does feel like a serious deal here.
And I think you have to kind of weigh 2 things here, and I'm kind of struggling with it internally, is I understand the Titans have injuries, but if this is going to be a team that we're going to talk about the Super Bowl with, then they're going to have to beat the Texans. And then another side of me is, okay, well, the team that set them up for a Super Bowl, the team that could carry them to a Super Bowl, those players weren't out there on the field yesterday. So I have a tough time of balancing this is the NFL, and you need to play with whoever you have. And if you're going to win this division, and if you're going to have the number 1 seed in the AFC, then you have to be able to beat these teams. But also, what do you have? Who's your personnel? Who are you throwing to? Who is on the field?
I'm looking over at the Titans-Patriots game. I already knew this, and it just angered me again. Like, I knew this last week, and for some reason now I'm mad about it. Ian Eagle, Charles Davis, and Evan Washburn on the call. What are Jim Nantz and Tony Romo doing on Sunday?
I don't know.
Were they just picking their rear ends and
They
saying,
might be.
no, Thanksgiving, we're taking the day off?
They might be.
How much does Jim Nantz work during the course of a year?
The Masters?
That's 4 days, and he only does 2 of them.
And every Sunday.
That's 4 days. The Masters is 4 days, and he works 2 of them.
Well, before is asking too much.
We go to 17 Shoffley. You see right here on the...
He does college hoops, doesn't he?
Does he?
Yeah. He's the number 1 college hoops.
Well, there you go.
But the only college hoops games he calls the tournament. He didn't call any regular. He ain't going out to Lexington right now.
I think he's earned that right, though.
Why?
Because he's great at what he does.
Jim's okay.
Okay.
I would rank Jim as who do the national games? Al Michaels is number 1. The GOAT.
Collinsworth.
Well, I'm talking about play-by-play. Al Michaels, number 1. The GOAT. Let's see. There's Nance, Buck, Who else am I missing? I'm missing another TV partner. Oh, ESPN. You know, I think I'd go Buck over Nance. But that's because I did read Buck's book, and I love Buck.
You love Joe Buck.
Now that I read his book, I do love Joe Buck.
You love him.
I do love Joe Buck. Would you go Nance or Buck?
Nance.
Ian?
But I have a different perception of Joe Buck, just being from St. Louis.
I'm kind of torn on Buck because I used to think he was okay, but like he kind of bothered me on baseball, but fine with football. Then I read his book and I loved him, but I read his book right before the World Series, and then he called the World Series and kind of pissed me off. So like, you know, maybe I'm a little bit. I still go Buck over Nance, but I would definitely take Robo over Aikman.
I would agree with that.
Ian, who would you take, Buck or Nance?
Does their color partner come with them or no?
No.
I think I'd take Buck.
Ooh.
A Buck Romo call would be very interesting.
Okay, we got to save this for another day because it's Titans Monday. 615-737-1025. What do we have on the phones?
One texter texts in and says something very important.
Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com.
How much blame do you assign to J-Rob? Other than Monty Rice, we're getting almost no production from our draft picks, which would be helpful given all of our injuries.
How do people feel about John Robinson, I think, is a caucus question. I think it's a very good question as well. I mean, like, John Robinson. Now, look, if yesterday was any indication, maybe this team won't win another game. I don't know. But I do kind of feel like, in my heart, you're going to have 6 winning seasons in a row.
But also, like, I feel like this John Robinson conversation could have been had in April. Like, you
needed the draft to fail first.
Okay, yes. But you can't just have this conversation now that the Titans didn't beat the Texans.
I told
now
you
that
last week we took a call last week that was Vrabel and Robinson are great. And when we took it, I said, breaking news, the fans like the GM and the coach when they win. And now we're getting the other side of it where the fans don't like the GM and the coach anymore because they lost yesterday. Like, I mean...
Like, these are not issues that have just arisen right now. Like, yes, it would be wonderful to have a lot more depth on this team. It would be wonderful now that this team is so banged up to have guys that you can count on, so you're not throwing the ball to a guy who doesn't even know what route he's running. But, I mean, this has been a problem that's existed even when the Titans were winning. They were just healthy.
615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. And I'm not going to bang on J-Rob yet. And look, I said don't do the Julio thing, and I said don't take Farley, and I still think he's doing a good job. I got to give a little bit of a shout-out that I want to do next about yesterday's game. And so we will do that coming up next. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Those are my guys. You will see that Hiller logo right here at Bridgestone Arena all over the place, right there on the Preds on that ice. Everybody loves Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. And I love them at my home, which is why I love using Hiller. They're giving away cash for the holidays and celebrating from now until the end of the year with special deals. They want to make sure every child experiences the joy of Christmas this year, so they're donating $50 in toys to Toys for Tots with every tankless water heater purchase. And they're giving away a $250 Visa gift card with each unit. Get a $500 Visa gift card when you buy select new HVAC systems, or get a $500 Visa gift card with the purchase of any new whole home generator. More specials are online at happyhiller.com. As always, happy you'll be here. The service is free, and these deals are only available until the end of the year, so schedule today, get those Visa gift cards, and get right to your holiday shopping thanks to my friends at Hiller. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
A sloppy afternoon for the Titans ends in a bad loss to the Texans.
We turned the football over too many times, and our offense certainly was its own worst enemy.
We're reacting all day long.
It's just hard to overcome this every week.
On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Last year, Nashville SC shattered the expectations in Major League Soccer.
Nashville SC dumping Toronto out of the playoffs.
Now they're back for more. Nashville SC is back in the Audi MLS Cup playoffs, and you can cheer for the boys in gold here at Nissan Stadium. Get your tickets now for round 1 to see Nashville SC face off against Orlando City SC on November 23rd at 7 p.m. Tickets start at just $24, so come be a part as the boys in gold look to bring a championship to Nashville. Get your tickets at NashvilleSC.com/tickets. Everyone in.
Bode Nashville puts you in a chic and stylish downtown Nashville hotel, walking distance to some of Music City's most popular spots. Working with local partners, they introduce you to the city, its craft, and its tastes. From their porch coffee and marketplace, serving local coffee from Stay Golden, to their in-house cocktail bar, Sidebar. Bode Nashville is a perfect spot for your pregame or nightcap and citywide adventure in between. Connect to Music City, its culture, its craft, and each other at Bode Nashville at 401 2nd Avenue South in Sobro.
Are you interested in starting your own business? Join the Blink Law Entrepreneur Summit on February 2nd for their one-day event to help anyone start a business. Not only will you hear from experienced entrepreneurs from a variety of fields, but all attendees will also get a one-on-one consultation with an attorney who will register your business. You will leave the event with certified documents and an officially registered business. This is a great opportunity for anyone who wants to jumpstart a new business. For more information and to register, go to facebook.com/BlinkLawLLC.
In 1972, a Nashville family business story began when Bill and Beverly Finley founded Volunteer Hose and Gasket. 3 generations have grown the business into the local industry leader supplying just about anything to anybody, from the largest of contractors to your neighbor that mows his own yard. Over 1 million items in stock: belts, belting accessories, gaskets, gauges, hose fittings, hydraulics, industrial hoses, lubricants, sealing products, tubing, fire protection, and more. All at volunteerhose.net. If Volunteer Hose and Gasket doesn't have it, then you probably don't need it. Call them at 615-242-0461.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So it's about that time for an oil change? We've got what you need. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge Full Synthetic or Full Synthetic High Mileage and an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for just $31.99. And you can get it all fast, your way. Just order online with our free same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Start your job today at AutoZone.com. Restrictions apply.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Thursday afternoon.
Prescott going for it all for Cooper. Touchdown!
It's our NFL Game of the Week, brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys host the Raiders on Thanksgiving.
Carr fires. Touchdown! What a catch!
Coverage begins at 3
on ESPN
102.5 The Game.
What's happening in Nashville? This is Scott Van Pelt. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Coach, what does it mean to you? You're the one that brought Floyd into the Oilers organization. You were the one that tried to get him to leave. Maybe should have bribed him with another car, but you tried to get him to leave. He stays. He becomes assistant general manager, later general manager. They're in the Super Bowl. Now, years later, he's being inducted into the Ring of Honor. He knew before he passed that he would be in the Ring of Honor. What's that mean to you?
When I was told he was going in the Ring of Honor, I didn't know whether to jump up and holler or cry, really. It just, a feeling just came over me like, wow, that is so. And I got to say this, I don't have any connection now with the Tennessee and don't talk to anybody over there. But thank you for doing the right thing. I'm smart enough to figure it out.
That was Jerry Glanville on the Floyd Reese tribute, A True Titan, on Friday night. Jerry Glanville sent Floyd a box of black orchids when Jerry Glanville decided when Floyd decided not to go to Atlanta, but instead decided to stay in Houston and become assistant general manager, which essentially said, death to your career. And Jerry did not sign a card or anything. So the Oilers get this box of black orchids delivered to Floyd. Well, they go right to the FBI with it.
It's kind of morbid.
Right. Basically saying we're going to kill you.
Right, exactly.
And so they go to the FBI with it, and ultimately the FBI find out it's from Jerry Glanville, and apparently Jerry Glanville confessed to Sports Illustrated that he was the one that did it. And so that shows you the kind of guy Jerry Glanville was, but that tells you what Jerry Glanville thinks of Houston. He doesn't care about Houston, doesn't care about the Oilers, doesn't care that he used to coach there, didn't care that he tried to punch a ref when he was the coach there. But he was very happy for Floyd to get in. I thought, obviously I was ecstatic when I found out. And I just want to say this. Even though the Titans didn't play very well yesterday, and even though it rained, and I kind of hated that, I want to thank the Titans for really everything, honestly. I mean, I've spent 4 hours complaining about the quarterbacking or the coaching or the way they played yesterday, but I want to thank the Titans because, there was bad blood when Floyd left, and there was bad blood when Jeff Fisher left, and there was bad blood between Floyd and Jeff. And I'm not sure that time has healed all of those wounds. You'd have to talk to Floyd about that. Obviously, we can't. And I think everybody else out there that listens to this show knows that even if you could talk to Floyd, he's probably not going to tell you how he actually feels. But I felt like yesterday, when they unveiled the banner and Chris Sanders was holding up the Floyd banner and they had the 99 Titans were there, and I thought that was fantastically done. I really do. And I thought the speeches were great. I thought Sean Reese gave a great speech. I just realized my camera went out because I didn't plug in my computer.
Yes.
So
It
I'm
is
sorry
just
about that.
me
If you're
on the stream. Hello?
I'm sorry if I just realized that to all of you. Whatever. But
You were up like 30 seconds ago.
I want to thank. I want to thank the Titans for the weekend that we had because I felt like they really, truly, embraced what this meant. This didn't feel like, okay, yeah, hey, here's your complimentary field pass, and all right, there you go, on you go, whatever. It felt to me like the Titans, knew how important this was to the fans. And I felt like to the fans, I felt like the fans went crazy when they announced that Floyd and Jeff were going into the Ring of Honor. And I thought it was great. Look, Jeff Fisher's not my cup of tea. He wasn't when he was coach, and he definitely isn't now. But I thought Jeff Fisher gave a great speech yesterday. And I do think that it's important for the Titans, for the Reeses and for Jeff Fisher to kind of move on past the bad blood and realize how important each of them was in what they created. Now, do I think one guy was more important than the other? Yeah. Now, again, also, I'm a little biased. But I just thought it was great yesterday. And the Titans, we were sitting up in a suite that the Titans gave the Reese family. And, Amy Adams Strunk came through, and Berg Nihill, the new president, he came through. And, I sat there and I was talking to Amy about how I just thanked her for the fact that they got Floyd in, and they got Floyd in before he passed away. So I don't know if I've told this story on the radio, but in June of this year, I knew he wasn't doing great, and he wasn't really talking to anybody. Like, he wasn't talking to Saban. He wasn't talking to Belichick. He wasn't talking to anybody. And I went there, and when I went there, I knew that word was starting to get out about his condition. And I felt then like, hey, we need to talk to the Titans and tell them about how this is. And when that happened, word got back to Amy Adams Strunk, and Amy immediately said, okay, we're doing it. And they talked to Floyd, and she told me she had a great conversation with Floyd. He did not talk to anybody else the month before he died, except for her. And he talked to her. And so I thanked her for doing the right thing, and I thanked Berg Nihill for doing the right thing. And I just thought it was really well done. I thought it was well done for the families. I thought it was well done for the fans because as me, these are my teams from my childhood, which is where your sports fandom starts. And so I really just want to thank the Titans. It really was a special day. And after the game was over, we went down where the sign is, and we took pictures with it. And you know what's crazy? Is that the Titans were telling me yesterday, hey, long-term, the Ring of Honor is going to have a different look to it. The stadium is due like a major renovation in a couple of years. And when that happens, they're going to redo the Ring of Honor. So it's going to look nicer than it looks now. But honestly, I like how it looks now. I know some people will complain about it, but it's in that lower bowl, and you can see it. And you can see Floyd directly from where my tickets are. So when I have kids one day, I can go up there and say, hey, that is your dad's, whatever you want to call him. What were we, best friends, mentor, whatever you want to call it. And I like where it's at, but, we went down there and we took pictures with the sign, with the Floyd Reese.
It looks really nice.
It was great. And just the whole weekend, if you're a Titan fan, it was great. And then to see how much it meant to the Reese family for me yesterday. Sally was up there, and anytime that it was like, hey, we got to do X, Y, Z, or they got to do X, I kept telling Sally, I go, look, it's your day. It's like a wedding. It's your day.
Whatever you want to do.
And now, they did have to go down at the time. They had to go down to the field because you can't really adjust halftime. But other than that, I was like, it's your day. When we were leaving, they said, hey, you know how after about 10 minutes after the game's over, you got the ushers coming up saying, hey, guys, time to get on out of here. And so they were going to allow us to go down and take pictures with nobody in the stadium and take pictures with the Floyd Reese sign. And, we're waiting for the elevator, and the Reese kids are like, where's Sal? Where's Sal? And the line for the elevator's long. So Sal goes back in the suite to go grab another cocktail.
As
and
she
everybody's
should.
like, where's Sal? I'm like, I am not getting involved. They were like, Jared, go get Sal. I'm like, I am not getting involved in this. This is her day. And if she wants to stay up there and knock down another cocktail on her day, she is allowed to do whatever she wants to do. I did the only job I had, which I gave myself, was the Titans had 2 bottles of Prosecco in the suite. And I'm thinking that there was bottles of orange juice next to it. So I'm thinking that's probably for screwdrivers. It's noon kickoff.
Mimosas. Yeah.
So I'm sitting up there, and I poured out one of the bottles of Prosecco into the little wine glasses that were there so that when they came back up after halftime, they walked into the suite, and we had all the Prosecco out, and we all, raised a glass to Floyd. And so Sally said, so we did on 3, we did Hey Bo, and we cheers to Floyd. And that was the only thing I did the whole day. Other than that, I just stood there, and it was definitely great to spend time with them. And I think the thing that's crazy is, and this has been really weird for me, for a lot of reasons. I did not want to go to the game with them because I felt like doing the tribute show Friday was like my way of saying, hey, this is, kind of the end of my involvement with this. Floyd was a great radio host for how long he was on the radio for, but that's over. And, we have our radio special, but this is for you guys. And then Sally insisted that I go with the Reeses to the game. So I honestly was like, look, I wasn't related to them. This is like family. And so going up there and being around the Reese family, you realize that you can't really quantify what your relationships are. So you can't qualify it and say, well, I was friends with someone for 15 years, so they mean this to me, whereas I was only friends with this person for 5 years, so they don't mean. And Floyd and I worked together for 5 years, and one of the things that I think I've struggled with over, the course of the last year is saying, how can I be so affected by somebody that I only knew for 5 years or 6 years or whatever it was? But I think spending the time with him at the game and everything else, it just made me realize all the different stories that we all have together about, okay, I remember early on, and I was telling Sally this yesterday, that Katie, Floyd's daughter-in-law, this was the first year of the show. And Floyd and I got in an argument. This was before I learned about the Brotherhood and the New England Patriot Brotherhood.
Ah, yes, have to learn the hard way.
Oh, the Brotherhood, which is if you're in New England, you cannot criticize anybody who's ever been in New England, and you can, I know, there's nothing I can do about it. You cannot criticize anything about anybody in New England ever, and don't try to. And we got into an argument when Matt Castle was backup quarterback of the Titans about how bad Matt Castle sucked. And Katie texted Floyd and basically said, and I've been working with Floyd for 4 months now, and Katie texts Floyd and says, F Jared and all this stuff. And I saw it, and I turned to him, and I was like, they don't like me very much, huh? And he laughs, and he goes, my family's loyal, man. And so we were just telling stories about that or things, that we've been involved in over the years. And I kind of realized, that the Reeses in a large way are family to me. And that this radio show is, it's made us a family. And I said this on the air last week, and I told Sally this, that when we got started doing this, the way everything worked out, there were a lot of radio experienced people working here, and certain things changed. And all of a sudden, Ryan becomes program director at 25 years old. I'm doing the drive time afternoon at 26. Ian, you were what, 28 when all this happened, when we started doing this?
I don't know. I'm 38 right now. So
You're 38?
Yep.
Okay, so Ian was 31 or 30 whatever.
Young.
And Chase is 29 when all this is going on. And now, like, Ryan's married and he's got a kid on the way, and Ian's had his first kid and he's got a second kid on the way. And just like we all grew up over the last 5 or 6 years. And as we've grown up, we all had Floyd. And, like, it wasn't like, you know, and I can't speak to your relationship with him, Ian, but, like, I feel like we kind of, like, even if we didn't go up to him and say, hey, like, you know, what do you think about this situation? Like, I remember when you came in the studio and told us that you and Nicole were pregnant for the first time. And, you know, like, those are life-changing moments. And we kind of all did it together. We kind of all grew up a little bit with kind of him as like the elder statesman kind of guy.
Especially as like helping to form sports opinions.
Oh my
and
God.
ideas like that. It definitely helps change and think of your mindset for sure.
Oh, it changed a lot. And so, you know, we were talking about that. And Chris Sanders came over last night after the game was over, and he told some stories. And I mean, I think the one thing I thought about today was seeing Chris last night when they dropped the banner. And, you know, you could see Chris smiling ear to ear when he's dropping the Floyd Reese banner. And I thought, you know what's crazy? Chris loves Floyd. But Floyd loved Chris. And I thought about it. I can't figure out who loved who more. And I'm like, that's how it probably should be. And so this is a long-winded way of saying, I just want to thank the Titans. I want to thank Amy Adams-Strunk because they got it right. They didn't just get it right by putting him and Jeff in the Ring of Honor. They didn't just get it right by making sure that he knew before he died, which he was fired up for. They didn't just get it right by that. They had a great ceremony. Amy gave a great speech yesterday at the ceremony. The way they treated the Reeses yesterday, to have Javon Curse out there as the 12th Titan, and I know the game didn't go the way they wanted it to go, but there's nothing the Titans can do about that. Nothing that Amy or Burke Nihill or the group that runs it. And I just want to thank them, you know, for the way that they handled that yesterday for everybody. And I mean that for Jeff Fisher too. Because even though Jeff Fisher drove me crazy as a fan, and even though, you know, I think we know what side of the aisle I'm on when it came to the Jeff Fisher debate, Jeff Fisher deserves to be in the Titans Ring of Honor. Jeff Fisher was the coach of the golden era of the Titan teams, and he deserves it. And I really felt like it was kind of the capping to what was at one point kind of the great era of the Titans. And so I just wanted to say that, and I wanted to say thank you to the Titans. Look, when they've had their issues in the past, I'm the first person to jump on them. And so with this, I thought it was handled so well. You know, first rate. And I just want Amy and Burke and everybody over there to know that it was very much appreciated. And I know that, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the Reese family because I'm not a Reese, but I know that it meant a lot to them too. 615-737-1025. Predators game day is coming up next. Big one for the Predators tonight against Anaheim. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 1025 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Cold tonight as temperatures drop back into the mid-20s under a mainly clear sky. We'll see another chilly day for Tuesday, although lots of sunshine. Highs top off in the mid to upper 40s. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Are you worried about your holiday shopping and your gift arriving in time? The Omni Nashville Hotel has a great idea for you. How about gift cards to their world-renowned Mocara Spa or Nashville's fine dining favorite, Bob's Steak and Chop House? Surprise your loved ones and friends with this special gift idea and take out the hustle and bustle of fighting traffic and long lines this holiday season. Simply go to OmniNashvilleHotel.com to purchase your gift cards. That's OmniNashvilleHotel.com for gift cards to Mocara Spa or Bob's Steak and Chop House.
Bank of England Mortgage has been helping Americans live the dream of home ownership for over 100 years. Since their humble beginnings in England, Arkansas in 1898, they've grown into a nationwide mortgage lender with 141 offices across 45 states, including 3 convenient locations right here in Middle Tennessee. Find out more at BOE1214.com. Bank of England Mortgage is a division of Bank of England Mortgage. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS 418481.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit over 10 years old? Now is the time to replace, and waiting can cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Central AC unit pricing continues to rise and will rise up another 20% next year. Get ahead of the increase now with up to 60 months no interest financing. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling offers a 10-year part and labor warranty on all new installs. Visit springhillac.com or call them at 615-778-8855.
Hey, Darren McFarland here, and let me tell you about my friends at Curation CBD. If you're like me and have aches and pains all over your body and you've been searching for a solution, well, I've got it. It's Curation CBD. Curation means healing, and that right there says it all. Curation is locally and organically sourced CBD products right here from Middle Tennessee. From seed to final sell, Curation is passionate about providing quality products for everyday use for athletes and for pets, too. Order yours now at CurationCompany.com. Curation CBD, curated for life.
Today's pros need today's tools, and nobody understands that better than the Home Depot. Our app makes it simpler to get supplies ordered and delivered. Our online project calculators cut guesswork and last-second supply runs. Job site delivery puts what you need where and when you need it. And rental puts the right equipment in your hands, but not your overhead. That's how today's pros get more done. New tech, new tools, old-fashioned hard work. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Darren McFarland. That should get you in the mood for a game tonight. Willie Donick.
I think between 5.5 and 6 is probably in the ballpark.
Chase McCabe.
Typically, I like to take the most difficult task and do it first.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curation CBD on Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
It's Hockey Night in Smashville.
Deflects back for Duchesne. His shot stopped, and the score!
What are the keys to victory tonight? What's being said in the locker room? Where do the Preds reside in the Central Division standings? Jared Stillman has the latest now. With Preds Game Day on Stillman and Company. Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. This is Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Predators Game Day, Stillman and Company. The Anaheim Ducks tonight at Bridgestone Arena. The Predators come in at 9-7-1, good for 19 points. The Ducks, shockingly, after a handful of years of not being very good, the Ducks off to a 10-5-3 start, good for 23 points. Ian, are we shocked by how good the Ducks have started off this year?
Little bit. Yeah, I think so.
Little bit. Another thing we're shocked by, Matt Duchesne had a hat trick on Saturday. He leads the NHL in even strength goals in the month of November, so that's something to keep an eye on. We start with the coach's take with John Hines on getting the Ducks.
Yeah, you have to be able to control what you can control. Now, we had a day off yesterday, so, everyone's able to get in and see their, significant others, family, whatever they need to do to get reacclimated, to being at home. And then you come back in today and, we got to be ready to go. I mean, we're facing one of the best teams in the league here. They're really good on special teams. 5-on-5, they're solid in all areas. So for us, it's important that, we really focus in on just today and making sure that, we had our day off yesterday. It's a game day. We got to be plugged in, ready to go physically, mentally. And, we'll just take it one day at a time.
Big week ahead for the Predators. They're not division games tonight or Wednesday or Friday, but the Predators, Minnesota leads with 23 points, Winnipeg 22, St. Louis 20, the Predators 19. Only the Predators, Jets, and Blues all have one game in hand of Minnesota, so the Predators could, in theory, be in third place at the end of the night, could be in first place at the end of the week. That's it for us. We're out of here.